We'll get to the addendums and modifications that you're all here anxious to talk about. And we'll try to get anybody that wants to say something, we'll try to hear them all. So, I just called the meeting to order. First order of business is to mention, welcome the new commissioner, which is Donna Rathbun. Maybe you can stand up for a second here. Or just throw money.
People can't hear you. Speak up.
I said, don't applaud, just throw money. Okay, we are now into electing of the new officers, the chair and the vice chair.
So I nominate Tom Fennell for chair.
I second.
So that's Chris. Okay, are there any other
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations. Vice chair.
I would like to nominate Chris.
All right, second. Okay. Any other nominations? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any abstentions?
Next
There you
item,
go. Congratulations.
next item is to review and approve the minutes from the meetings of July 17th. We do not have an August meeting. Has anybody got any changes or addendums to the July 17th meeting?
It's right in front, right there.
Is there any way you guys can speak up, because with the air conditioner and the fan, we can't hear? Would be awesome.
We're now trying to review and approve the minutes from the meetings of July 17, 2017. We did not have an August meeting as usual.
Thank you.
So do we have any changes to the minutes? Anybody want to say anything about the minutes?
Is there a motion?
Do I hear a motion?
I can't motion. I wasn't there.
We accept the minutes as written.
I second.
A second?
And I abstain.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Yes.
We got one abstention.
Okay.
Now I've got to find my papers here. Oh. Yeah, but is this is the agenda for today. Duh.
So I'm not back.
Okay. Resident and citizen participation.
You want to do that
I
after?
think that in interest of expediency and giving everybody a chance to speak, we're going to put that off until we finish the regular business of the regular meeting, and then we'll go into that stuff. So there's three things that we're going to look at, and we'll look at them later. Adopt changes to the emissions and continued occupancy, changes to the lease, and a new housing resident handbook. And we're going to go directly to business of resident interest. Staff reports reviewed. The first one is the property portfolio manager, which would be Jack Mahoney.
Jack is the red one. Red and yellow. So those are Jack's and the property manager.
Jack, you want to speak with me?
Sure. At Sam Elliott on October 16th, well, let me start with, we are going to be adding sprinklers to apartments at Sam Elliott Apartments. We had a meeting, and I'm trying to remember what date that was. I don't know. Sheet in front of me. But we had a meeting with residents of Sam Elliott Apartments, just letting everybody know what's going to be happening. That we, on October 16th, are going to begin installation and adding in single-bedroom apartments four sprinkler heads. One in the bedroom, 2 in the living room, and 1 in the kitchens. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions about that, but that's what we're going to be doing. And that's about it.
In order to accomplish this, how long would you expect the
Oh, that-
team to be in the apartment?
Each apartment, well, it's going to be half a day to 1 day. They're going to feel it out and see how it goes, but it shouldn't be, each apartment shouldn't be any more than 1 day.
Okay.
Will eventually they do all of them?
No, we're doing the high rise, mainly because it's a multi-story building,
Yeah.
and mainly because the state fire marshal suggested that we do it.
I can't believe that was built and approved without a sprinkler system there.
Well, it's got 1 sprinkler system in the entrance and in the common areas, not throughout the apartments.
I'm sure that there was a code back then that had sprinkler systems in.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the code back then because I worked in another high-rise building, a 40-story building that didn't have sprinklers in the apartments too. So the codes were a little more lax back then.
Do they have to move out?
Nope, we're just gonna have folks come in and move some things out of the way, just to make enough room for a ladder. It's you know, compared to the door installation we did, this should be fairly unintrusive.
Okay.
Moving right along. Resident Wellness and Services, FSS, PH, Resident Service Coordinator, and a stash coordinator. You can go in there, you already want to.
So I'm the Wellness and Services Manager, so I oversee all of the programs, and
Okay.
in our report, we talked a little bit about each program. The SASH program, we're offering several wellness programs right now. We have a full-time coordinator and 2 part-time coordinators. We're offering programs in chronic conditions, exercise. We offer our food distribution program, which comes through the food bank every month to each of our housing sites. The FSS program, which is coordinated by Lucy Tell, she is applying for a new grant for the next year, so we're in the process of that and continuing that program at our family sites, and also looking for senior sites as well to see if people are interested in part-time employment. And then Lorelei Morissette is our Ross coordinator, and she works part-time at our family sites and also at our at the Samuel Elliott Apartments. She had a wonderful summer, the lunch program. We had a great turnout. They served thousands of lunches, and we had great volunteers, so we're really excited about that. And right now they're offering a nutrition program at Ledgewood that I've heard has been very successful. So, great.
You got any comments to make on the FSS report?
That was probably the August report. No, I don't have any additional.
It is August, yep. And then the Shelter Plus Care, David's not here.
David's not here. You know, he's in the middle of wrapping up some grants. We finally got our transitions to housing payment. And we're working on getting Shelter Plus Care, which is another grant in place. And we are distributing tenant vouchers, tenant-based vouchers. So he's working on about 10 of those.
I guess we're not going to hear from Courtney on our monthly management report, because she's not here.
Well, you can see we had a few, one person left, had some transfers, 1 eviction. Actually, quite a bit of transfers, four different transfers. And in terms of rent, with the exception of Moore and Ledgewood, the rent collection is quite strong. And Christine, maybe you would tell the board about the rent collection program.
So our wellness and services team collaborates with the property manager and Jennifer, who is the property manager assistant right now. And we have been working on a rent collection program based on the fact that a lot of our residents are having a hard time meeting their rental agreement every month and fall behind, which is really hard for people to make up the difference. So once they have a huge amount that they're in deficit of, it's really hard to get money from outside services like Sevka. So we've been thinking about ways to help people to pay their rent on time. And also to track when people pay their rent. So for a long time we were having people distribute, pay their rent on site, which is great, except we have a hard time knowing when the rents are coming in because we don't always pick up the rents there, and then by the time they get back to the office and then they get processed, we have a hard time knowing when the rents are being paid. So we are starting a program where we're going to distribute prepaid envelopes to everybody, and so that people can mail their checks in. And this was based on feedback from our residents because one of our drop boxes had been broken into this past year, and people are always concerned about when their checks are being processed. So we thought that this would help them to know when their checks were in by putting in the mail, because it's much more reliable than probably humans picking them up. So we're going to start that next month. And Lorelei and myself and Lucy and even Shauna have been strategizing around how to support people around paying their rent on time so that they don't fall behind, and then working with outside agencies like Sevka to come up with plans to help people if they really need help in meeting their rent. Yep.
What about I have mine come directly to you out of my account?
Yeah, that's going to be the same, and we're going to encourage people to continue to do that. And I know it's not easy for people because some people are worried that it'll be taken out at a time where they won't have the funds in there and then they'll get a charge. So Lorelei and Lucy have been working on bringing banks in to talk to people about programs that they have to offer, and that might be easier for people who don't like banks that they might have a program where they don't have a fee or different things. So we've been working to talk to banks about that.
Thank you.
What about getting your check on the 3rd, like this month, the first fell on before the weekend, but
Right.
it falls like on the weekend, and I've been pretty good about it, like I already set it up to pay it. It comes on the 3rd,
Yep.
but maybe I'm gonna switch around to like other companies do, prepay it before the first comes, and
So we don't deduct it. So that's another thing. So we don't deduct it until after people receive their Social Security payments, because we know that people get it usually on the 3rd of the month or a little bit later. So we don't withdraw until the 6th. And then if the 6th happens to be on a weekend, then it would be the following Monday. Yeah. Is your question?
So this hasn't changed, this is the way it's always been.
That is the way it's always been. Yep.
okay.
It's more of I think a suggestion but when you were talking about having this fun thing to help people with rent, I'm wondering, I know there's some programs that are a little harder to get for some people, better for others, depending on your situation, but just speaking from my experience and also watching other people go through it, a lot of the times when people get behind on rent, it's because they had like an emergency with their car. I don't know if it would be a suggestion to maybe try to help people with that so they actually make their rent. I don't know if that's actually something you thought about.
That's exactly what we're trying to
Okay.
get
That's
to.
a really good
Because I know for me, that's been a
That's-
struggle in the past,
That's
with my car
exactly what
rent.
this
Yeah.
group has been trying to
Okay.
do,
Yes.
is so that we catch with you right away when there's a rent issue. And the first person who talks to you about rent is a service coordinator whose job is to try to find resources in the community to help you with whatever caused you to not be able to pay your rent.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is would this be a program that if
Yes.
you knew this was happening, I could approach before
Exactly.
I missed my rent payment? Okay.
Yes.
And we're also looking
Kinda
at things like setting
proactive.
people to set up
Yes.
calendars. You know, so for instance, like I know that I'm always gonna be short money around Christmas time and back to school, just the way it always is. And so other people may have very similar things throughout the year, which sometimes they have more money, sometimes they have less money. So working with people to sort of gauge and to hopefully try to plan for those emergencies ahead of time. Yeah, did you have a question?
I guess you guys didn't take the money out of the bank, so I got charged twice.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that, and so I would definitely suggest that you talk to Courtney about it. Yeah.
We fixed it,
Okay.
but you guys never took the money out of the bank, so we had to pay double.
Okay.
She was saying it was our fault, and it wasn't really our fault. She didn't cash it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, I'm sorry, I wish I did, but I don't know anything about that. So I would say if Courtney was here, she could address it, but at this point, I would say you'd have to take it up with her and the finance person.
And if it was an issue of a check that came in, see, that's why we want to get these through the mail, because checks get taken in, they get put over here, and then the finance person picks them up every other day, and it's easy, frankly, to have a check stuck in the check booklet, so it doesn't get cashed. So we understand that about this.
Okay.
We're hoping to
Probably
eliminate
first
those
or
kinds of
second
things.
charge or whatever you have to-
I don't think they charged us.
Just someone like myself who drives by, just feels safer handing it to somebody in the office. Is that still?
You can always drop it off at the Melrose office.
I don't mind driving to Melrose office and hand it to somebody.
The Melrose
It
office,
just makes
yeah.
me feel a little bit more, I know you got it. Not wondering about Uncle Sam who can lose it just as quick as anybody else. My brother-in-law delivers the mail, so I'll speak against him, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
the receipt that you dropped it off.
Yeah, the Melrose office is fine, yep.
So you're gonna be giving it to somebody in person rather than dropping it in a box.
But
That's
always
right.
at Melrose, you can't, we don't even want to give it to people on the sites, because what happens is that they put it in their bag, and it
Melrose
has to be
is
the
fine.
Melrose, yeah. Yes, hi.
My air conditioner won't off now, and so, they sent me a $50 bill, because, I couldn't get, somebody to help me remove it, and so they said it. I mean, I opened the window and the air conditioner fell out onto the lawn.
So I think we're going to be talking about air conditioners in a little bit, so I apologize, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I might say if you have a specific issue where you need help with something, call into the office,
Yeah, I mean,
and we'll send maintenance over,
They
okay?
charged me
At a charge.
Okay.
They took the air conditioner off the wall and they brought it down to the dump, because I'm charged $40, which probably is a standard fee. And they charge $30 to put it on a truck. So I can.
What about,
understand that. Why can't they take that out with my rent?
No.
Was this a subject you guys were gonna talk about in
Yes,
a little bit?
yeah,
So we
yes,
can just hold on to that
yes.
stuff?
Yes.
The guy in the back with his hand up?
what about, you can't put it in this mailbox anymore?
No.
How are older people gonna get there?
So we're going to give out envelopes, and there's a mailbox right on your property site.
It's gonna have a stamp on it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a prepaid envelope, yep. So it's the same.
okay, all right, yeah, that's answers that.
And there's somebody else there.
Yeah, I was wondering, if we put our checks in the mail and they don't for some reason get to you before the 6th, are you gonna affix a late charge?
No. We're not, no, there are no late fees. Those are it's covered in the lease. And there's not a late fee.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, this is mine.
Well, I didn't bring my charge.
Moving along here, anybody else? It's not here in the agenda, but I think we do have an announcement. We have now hired a new nurse.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
oh, I forgot, oh, yeah. So we have a new SASH nurse who has been hired for the SASH program. Her name is Andy Donovan. Yeah. Some of you have probably already met her. Yeah.
So are we gonna get scholarship fixed again?
If you would like, I would talk to Shauna about it. Yep, she would definitely organize that, absolutely.
Well, the next thing is, we're going to talk about a work session on old, new, and other business, financial review.
No,
Chris, you're not going to talk
Well-
about that?
we have the monthly checklist, green paper.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's next. So, and then we need check, who's the September check sign? You are,
I'll do October.
all right? And then anybody willing to pick up, Dawn? Look at her jump right in. And December? All right, thank you very much. And I will postpone item B until we have heard from everybody in the room. How's that?
Okay, that sounds fair to me.
Okay?
So where's the start?
Well, maybe I could start with the proposed changes that we made. Would that be a good idea?
Well, that's basically, I think, what everybody's worried about.
Well, all right. So, this is Patricia Bew. She is our attorney, and she is here in case questions come up of a legal nature. I do want to thank everybody in the room for your letters. Hayes Court, you were tremendously organized with your petitions, and they were great. Every letter that we received, all of that went to the board in their packets, okay? So all of that. We had really, really good meetings with Moore Court and Ledgewood, and we thank you for those. So all of that, we heard you, and I want to start by just reviewing some of the things that have changed a little. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question before we even start. Why was this done in such a secretive way? The first I knew of this, I happened to see something stuck up in the bulletin board over in the laundry room. Why weren't we just notified of, them changing the wiring or any other event? But why weren't we just given, and when people went over to the office to get a copy of the changes, they were required to sign for it. It was, to me, I'm very confused about why it was so secretive.
I'm sorry that it felt secretive. We put the signs, we posted it according to the HUD rules, and as far as I know, everybody that contacted us to get a copy of any part of the complete packet got it. But that's the HUD rule, that we have to post it in 3 places, and we did that. And then we responded immediately. I think within the first couple of days, we sent out about 50 packets to people and delivered them to people's doors.
I just don't understand why you just didn't automatically just send them to everybody.
We didn't do that because a lot of people don't read what we send them, and this was lots and lots of paper. So,
Chris, can I just say, I looked at the postmark on our packages, and they were really, really expensive to mail to everybody, and that would take-
$7.20.
Right, and what about the door-to-door, like you hang some other notices up on our things?
I am a little leery of that because I am often told, even though we've done that, that people have not received them.
But at least they received them though, which is what we're saying. If they don't read them, they're dumb luck.
No, they've said, didn't get it. And we say we put it on the door, didn't get it. So we tried it this way. This is the way HUD lets us do it, and we did it that way. And we tried, I know that we got a lot of people who called right away and said, what is this? I think somebody wanted the whole 130-page continued occupancy policy, and we gave it to them. So.
I know that when I came into this building, I spent quite a few hours here, right, doing the TV and playing pool or something. And I told people that there was rules in the laundry room, and it's like, so once I told somebody, I tell, my friend James over across the way, he said, I never seen that. They're in the laundry room, and it's like, it just escalated. I said, you can call the office for a copy, and it's like, it just went like pay,
Right,
pay fire.
yeah,
So-
and we sent out copies like crazy.
And when they had the petition, I said, here's the rule, this is the rule for, and what, I said, you can read the rule, and here's the petition. I kind of like escalated it through the meeting that we had prior, and it's like, I thought it went pretty well, but I said, well, a lot of these people never saw him at all, you know, so, I mean, I'm glad the way it was, you know, happened, you know.
I have a suggestion to improve the situation maybe the next time. What about having an email list and sending people
Not
email
everybody has
notifications? It won't cost anything. I know everybody doesn't have email, but a lot of people do.
Well,
So based on some feedback that we've gotten from this, because we were a little bit surprised at how many people wanted it right away, and I think in hindsight, if we knew so many people would want it, maybe we would have photocopied, I don't know how many pages, and distributed how many pages to each door, and that. So we have thought about it a lot, and we're working on our website right now based on that. We are going to start posting these on our website, and we have 2 staff people devoted to updating the website and making it so that we put all these notices on there. So there will still be notices at your housing sites, and then hopefully people will get in the habit of that. But a lot of people don't have the internet, so it's tricky. So we're trying to meet everybody's needs. But I will say this, we do post things on those bulletin boards, so I think getting in the habit of looking at them might help. Also, I know at Ledgewood, it's kind of an awkward space where they have things, so we have been talking about moving that to where the community room is, so that that box can be there and we can post
on
things
the
right there.
inside?
Nope, on the outside, because we know people have a hard time. We listen.
It's not open a lot. Yeah, we heard.
Yeah, so it
The
would
only-
be the same, a glass box, but on a stand, and then, so that people can see it right there.
The only suggestion, oops, I've got hands up. Sorry, sir?
I just, some of us were renewing our lease recently, and I think it would have been a better idea to have those new rules when we were re-signing the lease, not after the fact.
They haven't been adopted yet. Well, they haven't been.
Because I didn't know about them until after I renewed my lease.
But,
And I wanted to go over them
There-
before I re-signed.
Yeah, there are very few that actually affect your lease. Most of them are in the continued occupancy policy. The ones in the lease is really, the only one is that we won't be taking rent in boxes on your property. That's the only change
Well,
in the
but that
lease.
one also was in the lease.
And the pet one is in the lease?
The AC units are also talked about in my lease.
I'm not sure.
And all of that was after the fact.
I'm
What
charging
are you gonna
for it.
charge me in my lease?
Yeah, it says we're
If I
gonna
put air
charge you.
conditioner in this month, you tell me how much you're gonna charge me.
Yeah,
Extra for my electricity. That's what it tells me in my lease.
yeah, same here.
Right.
So my air conditioner is covered under my lease.
Until January 1st, 2018. If it's in a regular.
Right. So, okay, so, Sean, you had a question?
Same as his,
Oh,
because I had the same argument, I didn't know why it wasn't presented to us at the same time as renewal of the lease.
When did you renew your lease?
Just recently, actually, and maybe like a couple of days after.
Yes. and here
Okay,
was-
they weren't adopted. They haven't been, we couldn't put them in the lease because they were only proposed.
Right.
And we couldn't put anything in the, we can't change the lease without the action of the commissioners. So that's
No,
why.
I was suggesting that if in fact this paperwork was out before we renewed it, or if any decisions were made, how come it wasn't presented to us at that time of renewal? So it'd be coinciding.
Yeah, I think that Courtney was working with you on your research while we were working on what we were going to be offering and what we were going to be putting together. I don't think it was ready exactly at the same time.
Chris, I noticed you got a heck of a lot of notes.
Well, there's some people that still have introductory questions, I think, Tom, so let me just,
Because a lot of those questions are going to be answered by your
well,
notes.
let's see, Kim?
I did want to mention some of us cannot afford priorities come over internet for us. Internet access is not something that I easily get. I have to wait for somebody that has it and use it in their apartment. but as far as the messages going out and people wanting to read them, I personally, and I know I'm not the only resident that went out and informed people in Ledgewood. Some of it was last minute before we had the Ledgewood meeting, and people still showed up and had no clue what we were talking about, and they were quite upset about it. From my experience speaking in Ledgewood, because that's the only experience I have, I've handed them out, and I do sometimes, I guess there's somebody else that does it too, but majority of the people up there at least glance at them, and if it has anything to do with the rule change, they do read it. And I've been finding a lot of people up there were totally clueless. I found out from a resident from another complex, because if it was posted, it was removed so quick that when I found out, I kept looking for a post and couldn't find one.
We're not saying housing, we're saying it was.
No, it was posted,
I'm not saying it wasn't, I'm just saying it was taken down so quick that nobody's
Let me
really saw it.
just tell you what happened. It was put up and it was taken down. It was put up and taken down, put up and taken down, put up and taken down.
It doesn't surprise me, actually.
So that was,
Because the person that told me they put it up, it told me they only put it up once.
well, it was, we put it back up. We had somebody putting it back up. So it was, we did try to get it in that particular space and it just didn't.
Yeah, just a suggestion, yes, it would be hell of expensive to, copy all this and hand them on doors. What about just a one-page, hey, synopsis of, this is important, read this if you want, comment or whatever, then do this. Just that one, like,
The
that's what
notice
we
was
had.
a one page, why couldn't that one page been handed out at every door?
The notice that
To say we needed
included,
a call for it.
that included.
That doesn't say any of that stuff,
Yeah, it does, and it says, these are changes that are being made, and then it lists all of the things, all the things that are in the handbook, and it says, if you want a copy of the handbook, call us.
Right, that's what I mean,
don't
you want a
understand.
copy, then call us.
It says it.
We're on a one.
It's in there.
Yeah, but that, what we're saying is why couldn't that have gone to the doors if we
Yeah, just
did?
the one
I mean,
piece go to the door.
You want that piece to have gone to the door.
yeah, not the whole pack, you know what I mean? I can
All
understand
right.
the whole packet,
Yeah, yeah.
not, but maybe a
No,
notice saying
you
the
want
packet
that whole notice
exists.
to go.
Just the one
All
notice
right.
saying this is what,
right.
coming
So
in
we
if
can
you
choose
want.
to call or not.
Okay, got it.
I mean,
And,
yeah.
yeah, no, I hear you.
Because I
hear
understand
you.
the cost.
I hear you.
Well, I know.
But, sir, yes, yes?
These items that we're going to cover now are proposed.
Pardon?
These items that we're going to cover now that are proposed.
Yes.
What are the chances that any of the proposed won't be put into the lease? I mean, are we just wasting our breath and our time?
Yeah, exactly.
Anything-
I don't believe you are wasting your breath or your time. These are the commissioners and they're here to hear you. We are the staff for them and we have gone through and developed this. We will present, when I get to this, I'll go through changes we've made as a result of the petitions and all that we've heard. But it's going to be up to this board to decide what pieces that they think should be kept and what pieces should be changed and all of that. They make the decision.
Well, can we just let Chris please go down through what the proposals and changes are, and then we can begin the discussion on what it is that you want to speak about or change?
Okay.
I think the question was, are these actually going to end up on a final lease?
We don't
If
know.
they're approved.
We do not, they're not
So
gonna,
whether they get approved
there's
or not,
only
they might
one
not
thing,
end up on the
wait, Kim,
lease.
there's only one change to the lease. There's only one piece of the
Okay, then
lease.
what are these rules? What do they mean then?
We're here to listen to you, the board, we're the ones that approve or
No, I
disapprove,
understand that, but if
we're here
these
to
aren't on the
listen to
lease, what
everybody.
do they mean to us is what we're asking.
Right, and that's what we're
How do they
trying to do.
affect us if they're not in a lease? Because understanding my renter's rights in Vermont, if it's not in my lease, it doesn't mean anything.
Right, it's up to us to approve them whether it will be in your lease, and we're here to
Okay,
listen
that's
to
the question. Are these going,
Right.
if they're
We
approved,
don't
are
know.
they gonna end
We
up on
don't
a lease?
know.
So
That's what
here's the
we're
thing,
gonna have.
the way the lease is constructed, no, I got it, Kim. The way the lease is constructed, the admissions and continued occupancy, which is that big notebook over there, is part of your lease by reference. These rules are part of your lease by reference, okay?
That's what I'm-
So
yeah,
that
that's what I was
is
trying to
how they
clarify.
will
Thank you.
end up in your lease. They will not,
Thank you.
there's only one change that will actually be written into your lease, and that's the one on collecting. But these are part of the policies of the housing authority that are covered in your lease. They're pulled in.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what we were trying to figure out, are they on ADA?
Yeah, my question, Chris, I'm sorry, is the board, is this gonna have to be a definite decision tonight?
That's up to the board.
Okay, you don't know? Okay. But we can say to you, let's put this on the
That's what we're
table.
here for, to listen to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's, all right, let me go through these. And I tried to follow, I sort of was following the, I believe the petitions that came in from his court, but there's other things, so just hang in there with me. There was an issue about the statements on rent payments, and it came up before. The rent payment is not changing. It is due on the 1st, it is late after the 5th. And that's existing. That's not changing anything. We just put it in the handbook because we wanted to highlight it. Okay? If it comes out on the technical language in the lease is the 5th. We know for some people it's the 6th. All right? And the way the rent has been done is not changing. Okay, so if you got it in the 6th and you never got anybody knocking on your door about a late payment, it's not changing. That is not changing. Okay. Visiting guests limited to 5 hours. We are proposing to say guests are the guest limit, and there's a certain number of days and a certain number of weeks, that stays the same. But
does that apply to children? Because I have like custody of my niece, so does that apply to children or like grown-ups?
This is grown-ups.
Okay.
Okay? When you have custody, that's a separate issue. Okay?
I'll let you go through that.
This is more for, actually, this is because we have too many people that have guests that stay in their apartment for way too long.
Right.
All right? And they begin living there. So let me just go through what this is. So the number of days and the number of weeks does not change. What we have added is something that defines what constitutes a day. Now the problem is, well, you say 24 hours, but the problem is in most leases and in most policies it says overnight. So we have had plenty of people that were living in your different apartments, but only there during the day. And they said, you can't do anything to me because I'm there from 8 a.m. till 9 or 10 p.m. and then I go to work. And I work overnight. They were living here. So what we have said is we want to propose a 10-hour period, consecutive or not, within 24 hours starting at 12 a.m. to sort of get some way to contain and define what we're talking about. That's it. The number of weeks isn't changing, the number of days doesn't change. We know lots of people have grandchildren and kids that come that we totally do not apply this to them.
Just the
So
stay,
it's
the
just-
10 hours,
this
consider
is-
to stay, your 7 days are gonna happen much quicker.
No, they shouldn't, well, they shouldn't happen any quicker, but we should be able to
Maybe just reword
monitor it better.
Maybe
all right?
reword it and monitor better.
We will monitor it better, and it's really, guys, the problem is, this is not for people that follow their lease and people that have kids and do good stuff and just are trying to get by and live here. This is because we have people that try to cheat the system and do all kinds of things. So, unfortunately, we have to make rules because then we end up in court and the legal aid says, where's your rule? Here's our rule, okay? So that's what happens.
I understand all that. What I'm asking is, how is that gonna be monitored, and is that gonna refer to somebody that you know is definitely living there? Like, I'm wondering if I'm gonna run into a problem. The reason I'm asking to explain myself is because I have 2 select family members that do have their own home, but because when they come over, it's usually because I have to do things overnight, and it's not unusual for them to stay like 2 nights and then go home, but they clearly don't live there. and sometimes I'm sure without even noticing that may exceed 7, and I'm wondering
So
how
here's the
that's gonna
thing.
affect me is what I'm wondering.
Okay,
Talk to your.
talk to the property manager, okay? Because most of the time, this occurs because people are trying to sneak somebody in
Yeah, I understand
and
that.
have
I
them
have
stay.
issues with
If you
doing that
have
too,
something
but-
going on in your family, and, you know, we've had this happen many times where somebody needs to come in and be a caregiver. You know, we just go, forget it, just come in and be a caregiver, we get it, all right? And the family contacts us and says, you know, Louise has to be here, Mom fell, she's coming back from the hospital, Sash is probably involved, you know, and that's fine. Comment, you know, we're not putting in these rules like this. We get it, common sense, this is because we have people that really do want to
I just understand, I
push,
just want to make
okay?
sure that I'm covered.
So
and it's not
just, I would say,
if it is.
any question, just go to your property manager. So, I'm sorry, sir?
Okay, I'm just in the process of moving in,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like you think I'm gonna be having a frat house here.
No, I don't.
And limiting the guests to 5 hours, I mean, most of my guests
We're-
are from hours away.
We're not limiting them to 5 hours anymore. This is gone. This is gone, totally gone.
Okay.
Okay? Totally gone. They're not limited to 5 hours.
Okay.
All right? Gone. Gone, gone, gone. We don't think you're gonna have a frat house here.
Yeah.
We don't.
I don't drink, so it's not gonna happen.
Well, you could, you know.
So can I just say one thing, and I know Courtney's not here, but because we work so closely together, and I see this happen, and so a lot of our residents come to us complaining about their neighbors who have guests that stay too long or who live with them. We sometimes run into situations where there's criminal activity because someone is staying in an apartment and they don't live there. And so it's really hard for a property manager to always, to work hard to evict someone if we don't have some kind of specific rules. If you have a caregiver, if you have a babysitter, all you have to do is talk to Courtney. She's pretty reasonable. She can tell the difference between someone who's selling drugs and a babysitter, usually.
Really?
I mean, but you know, you never know. But you know, we're working on that. So there's just so you know the background. We have some practicality behind it.
I am a babysitter.
Okay.
Pertaining that, we actually, me and her actually helped you guys with, a situation that was in Lakewood.
So I'm covered.
We pat ourselves on the back a little bit because we did help you and we did kind of like freeze her out and push her out.
Yeah.
There was group, there was video security, I mean, it was
And
a
we
community
appreciate
thing
that.
to help.
I mean,
so.
any time.
We're definitely not
We
against
are
it all.
informed of activity that goes on. We do take it seriously. We do follow up. There is a problem in that we can't always tell you what we're doing because of protected rights, but we are doing something. Okay?
Yeah, and that's why we.
So, okay.
Help.
All right, so extended absence from apartment, this is actually, has not been changed at all. This is what is in the policy, what is in the handbook is the same as in the policy. This is no change, all right? Visiting animals, the clarification here, thank you to our attorney, is what we're really getting at are visiting pet dogs. Why are we picking on visiting pet dogs? We don't know if they have rabies shots. We don't know if they have their vaccinations. We don't know if they are going to threaten someone, and we have had them get on the property, run loose, and bite kids. So, the easiest way for us to handle this is just to say no. If you have visitors and they have to bring their dog because it's a reasonable accommodation or it's a service animal, you just need to let us know that. And we assume that because it is a reasonable accommodation and a service animal, they will keep the dog on a leash, and the dog has had its shots and it is able to be around groups of people.
So a
Okay.
service animal is a different kind of animal
Yes.
than a pet.
It is, absolutely. So the
And a therapy dog
clarification
is also
is
different than a pet.
pet.
Yes.
This is
You
for
got
pets.
companion, pet, and then service.
So if you
Am I
have
understanding that?
companion and you have service, they're usually both because you have a reasonable accommodation
Okay, so they
and they're
do kind of
for
fit
a
that.
disability.
Yeah.
I know it
This
was three
is
different things, I was just trying to
strictly
figure that
for
out.
pets.
Okay.
This is just
Specifically pets, okay.
the pet.
So what about size? Like, I mean, little dog, medium
It
dog?
doesn't matter, when it's a pet dog, I don't care if it's a dachshund, you can't bring it. And I have 3, so, and I love them, so, all right.
I gotta come to your house, I miss my dog, it's okay.
Okay, let's keep going. Trash removal. There was a lot said from the folks at Hayes Court about trash removal, that we should be following the landlord rule in the town, which is any building of 3 or more units or 5 or more units, the landlord should be paying. That is not the case with the federal public housing. We are actually, we have a contract with the town of Brattleboro, which says it's their responsibility to pick up our garbage. When they went to pay-as-you-throw, we had to go to pay-as-you-throw.
That wasn't your decision, we know, yeah, we
That-
understand.
We understand.
Well, no, but there are people there are other people that think that the private landlord law should apply to us, and it does not.
Can I,
When it comes to this
can I help you clarify that?
pay-as-you-throw.
I was at the town meeting when that was going through, and there was actually a fault to the town, there was a misprint. It was actually supposed to say 5 or more with a dumpster, and they left out with the dumpster. Just so you know, actually, it's not even in the town saying that. Just wanted to clarify that, because I was at that town meeting where they fixed it. I don't think it got out to the town.
The main point here is that the town has, and the housing authority have a contract, which is, and they've always, which is why you've always had trash, garbage pickup through the town. Unfortunately, when they went to pay-as-you-throw, you became subject to pay-as-you-throw. That's what happened. And could we go to the town and argue about our cooperative agreement that we started in 1962 and that they haven't read since then? Probably wouldn't do any good.
No, yeah,
Okay.
go away.
Candles and incense, it is still prohibited as a fire, because of fire hazard. Now, we have statistics that show that last year there were 9,000 fires started by candles and incense, and there was over $374 million in property damage.
Is that for the whole United States, or we're all HUD
That
program
was
throughout the US?
for the
How about
US. So
I have an electric one.
that would be okay.
Okay.
That's
That's
flameless.
All right, thank you.
How does that apply to smoking? Are there deaths and burning buildings from people
Well,
falling
that's
asleep
changing
when they
anyway.
smoke? Since people in this complex smoke in their apartments?
Not supposed
That's
to.
gonna be changing.
It does apply to smoking, and smoking is prohibited here, and we know we have an issue, and we are trying to address it. But that's different than candles and incense.
That's why we have the,
Do you
well,
hear
you
how
have
I
the smoking
speak?
thing.
Do you know why this is? This is from breathing secondhand smoke. That's what it is, just so you
They're gonna be
know. And I
banning
can have a doctor verify it.
Well, I'm sure that's true, and I can tell you that the legal, I can have our attorney tell you, the legal standard for actually taking a legal lease violation against somebody for smoking in Vermont is very, very hard. You have to go in and see them smoking. Okay? Otherwise, you're not going to get very far.
And that can't happen if a property manager doesn't go into that apartment.
We cannot enter the apartment without 48-hour notice unless there's an emergency in the apartment. And if we make up the emergency, I can assure you, legal aid will say there was no emergency. So we are looking into, and Jack spent a lot of time looking into smoke sensors that read if there's cigarette smoke in the area. We're trying to get our hands around this one. It's very difficult. Okay? But this is just candles and incense, and if you would like to ask our attorney about religious need to have candles or incense, she is happy to respond to that.
Would you please?
Yes.
Respond to whether there's a
Religious.
I mean, all right, light the menorah for Hanukkah. I'm gonna come right point blank to you and ask you, if we have something, family comes over, service goes, it's usually the menorah's lit. It doesn't stay lit for the whole night, doesn't ever stay like that, people are there, but it's lit to go through that part of the service that they go through. Does that mean that if you do it for a menorah, for religious reasons, we're breaking the rules? And that's what I'd like to have somebody classify for me.
Technically, you are breaking the rule that exists, but is there an exception? And would I advise the housing authority that you leave it alone? The answer is yes, because as a federally funded housing authority, they can't abridge your expression of religion. And so lighting a menorah. My advice to them is if someone comes and says, I want to light the menorah, or I need to light a candle every night and spread the ashes, any of those things, that you try and find out whether there's an alternate. Does the menorah have to be candles? Can it be electric candles? Can it be something? If not, the religious card trumps the rule.
Thank you.
Okay.
Same would apply for a Christian doing an Advent week.
Or
Yes.
Buddhist doing incense.
Right.
Or Catholic, yeah.
Yes. So basically, religion, our attorney is saying, you can tell us, which is always helpful, and we want you to be careful about it. But we're also, I would make the assumption that if you are lighting a candle for the Advent or for the menorah, whatever it is, you are going to be careful with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of a religious act, and you're not going to just let it burn all night, hopefully.
But I would encourage that in many cases, the religions themselves do not require a burning candle.
Right.
It can be an electric flame, it can be electric.
Right. Okay, that must have changed then, I don't know, because I'm sorry.
An
I'm not
Advent
Jewish.
wreath can use electric
Can they?
candles. Yes, they can.
The wreath or just the?
The Advent candles.
Okay, but not the menorah itself?
I don't know, I'm not that big.
Yes.
How can we report this? Because I have a candle that's never been lit in housing, but it was lit before I moved in. It is actually part of a religious, and I'm just wondering if I'm like, who do I report that to so that they know this? I mean, if you look at it, you could probably see the dust on it.
Do you light it?
When I do light candles, I rarely light them inside because with my religion, if the one time a year my lights, my festivals, it's actually lit outside, and it's, you know, it's usually like in the walkway on a stand, and I don't leave it until the ritual's done, and by then the candle's out. And I actually leave it there usually just in case to make sure the smoke, everything's gone. But I'm just wondering because I am not of any of these religions, and mine is very often obscured and people don't understand it. And I'm just wondering who should I report to so that they understand these are religious items. They're not something that most people would know.
Tell us. You just tell Courtney. Just, you know, yeah, just tell Courtney.
A prime example I see it, that was in the Reformer, was the hotel up the road. You know, like I don't burn candles, but I clearly hear with electric candles and stuff, they think that a cat tipped it over and you rush out of the apartment and you forget about the candle and you just, it's in a dish, it'll melt down. But in that aspect, well,
okay.
But the idea is, you know, I understand that rule and, you know.
Okay. Arlene? Arlene?
I have a friend who lights a candle when there's a storm to save the property. And
That would be actually a
I have
religious
blessed
prayer.
tea lights and I'm careful with them.
I'm familiar with that type
And
of
I
thing.
have a very rigorous prayer. I'm actually a prayer hermit. And so I have consecutive prayer in the morning and the evening with the breviary. and I have less tea lights, and I put there in a safe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think some people, I don't know about anybody here, but some people are thinking that you can't even have any. Not that you, even if you don't use them, they just can't be in your apartment.
The way it's worded, it kind of says there's no
you
candles, and my
understand what I'm
concern
saying?
is, am I gonna get complaints because I have candles, some which are just there
Okay.
for purpose, not for
Okay.
lighting?
Not everybody understands something the same
No, I
way.
got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have lit candles or lit incense, okay? All right, moving along. Wind chimes and bird feeders. We did not, we heard everybody's desire to have wind chimes. People really got it about bird feeders, thank you. But we left it as prohibited. Now, the reason for that is that when we make these rules, they have to apply to the whole development. They have to apply to the 42 apartments at Ledgewood, the 28 units at Moorcourt, the 72 units here, and the 62 units at the high-rise. It's not about picking on any one person. It's about the fact that when we have 60 or 50 or 100 of these, then it becomes somebody else's distraction and noise.
See, I mean, I wrote this out early, but I just believe that you're making blanket rules for all the properties at one time, and that's what you just said. And I really look at, and I'll phrase it, those who know me in here, I was on the school board for 17 years. We made rules for the schools. They came from the state down. We had to dictate them in there. Then each school has its own individual rules, and after that, each teacher in the building might have their own rules. Some teachers might say you can use a cell phone in you can have a cell phone on in your class. Another teacher says you can't. That's what happened. So I think that, were you looking at each place and making just blanket because there might have been a problem
No, we looked at each place and the application of each rule. So for the wind chimes, we looked at what would it be like to have, and we know at Moorcourt there are apartments that have 5 or 6 wind chimes. So, we looked at each place.
Now,
How about lights and like decorations for Halloween?
We're gonna get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
to touch on what you were saying, so when you say you guys were looking at, was it based on the complaints or based on federal changes in law?
It was based on complaints that we have encountered and difficulties that we have had with whatever it is. Yes, ma'am.
So what you're saying is you can have a scented candle when people are asthmatic, but you can't have a couple of wind chimes in the window?
If it's in the window in your apartment, you can have it. If it's outside attached to our building, no.
So back to the candles, they can't be scented or not?
They can't be
They
lit.
can't be lit, you can't have them at
They
all.
can't be lit, but if you have to have if you're using a candle, scented or not, for religious purposes, then we want to know about it. But we can't say, no, you can't light that candle because it's interfering with your religious practice. Okay? Okay.
Are the rooms okay if they're outside the building, not attached to anything?
No. No, this is wind chimes outside. Wind chimes inside are okay.
The bird feeders are really doing, what harm is it really doing to anybody?
Which, the wind chimes or the bird?
With the bird feeders, a lot of people love to watch the birds,
Who here has problems with skunks? Who has problems? Okay. Bird feeders attract skunks and they attract bears and they are really a problem. So we do not want bird feeders because they cause big problems.
And what do the wind chimes attract? Just nice sounds and...
You know what? So here's the problem. For you, it's a nice sound. For another person, it's an irritation to their ear. Okay? And it could be an irritation that is so significant that it affects a disability that they have and causes them to have sort of an epileptic seizure. That is possible, and we have encountered that, where we have had to go and tell people, you got to take all this stuff down, because 2 doors down, it's affecting the person in the apartment. So we just said, just say no, and that's a better way to go. But that's the problem. You know, I know you're looking at it like my apartment, and I'm, you know, a good upstanding resident, and we're looking at it from the standpoint of the person has to look at the whole property and how these things affect the way variety of people that we have, the big effect.
Right,
on
in your
people.
other
So-
places, you might have a whole bunch more wind chimes, you know, 100 or so. Around here, there's not that many, and I don't think affect anybody around here.
We can't pick and choose.
That's what I'm saying.
We can't, that is, our attorney can give us a little lecture on fair housing, and, you know, we used to have, now, trust me, we're not gonna do this again, but when I got here over 20 years ago, there was cable service in the elderly apartments.
That was part of rent.
That was part of rent, and it was very cheap, and it was really a great deal. And it was a total violation of fair housing, because it did not exist in family housing at all.
Wow, that's interesting.
I just want to say, I don't live in the housing, you know, in this housing, but I had a neighbor who had 2 wind chimes out here, and I have a condition, a noise condition, that noise, and I knew what Chris was describing, and I couldn't open my windows at night in the summer at all with those wind chimes, especially if it was windy out. You know, we even go through, and it drove me crazy. And, you know, when they moved and they took down the wind chimes, it was finally, it was 5 years of not being able to open my windows. So there are people like that around. They may not tell you that, and they may not, you know, they may not complain to you. But if it says, yes, you can have wind chimes, there's no way that the housing authority can tell you to take your wind chimes down. You know, it would still be your own decision. So without having them outside, put them inside, have a fan, blow them if you like the sound. But having them outside, you don't know who they're affecting, and they can be very debilitating. So I'm proof of that.
I think this is more towards the lawyer. I've had my wind chime since I've been here almost 10 years. I lived 4.5 years next to somebody who didn't even know I had one. My wind chime makes a very soft sound. It is actually part of my prayer. I mean, we're going to basically accept certain religious aspects, but not others, I guess would be my question.
I can let Pat respond, but I would say it needs to be inside.
Inside, yeah. You know, actually, according to prayer, it has to be outside because it's to the passing spirits, not the ones coming in my home.
I will let the attorney.
That's what I'm asking the attorney, actually.
See you in court. No.
Do that.
You know, for all of these, it's common sense, it's reasonableness, given that the rule is that you don't want chimes and you don't want them affecting other people, and you can be outside. So outside, far enough away so it doesn't affect anyone.
Well, that's why I mentioned I specifically have one that they can definitely be heard by the spirits, but you have to be like within inches in a 60-mile-an-hour wind to really hear them. They're plastic more than metal, so they don't really make much more than a clank. And it's like, I've asked neighbors, I've had neighbors totally shocked they didn't even know I had one because they never knew.
Are they within 10 feet of the apartment?
They're hanging on an existing hook that was there when they moved in.
But that's within 10 feet of the apartment? That's Pat's question.
But the thing is, my religion, it has to be by the door, just like my
Okay.
for
That's
that
what we need.
prayer to work, to protect my, if it's 10 feet away, it's not protecting my heart.
No, as part
It's
of your
supposed to be
religion,
close
it's
to a door.
If it's part of your religion, and it must be within, again, reasonableness and understanding that other people around may be affected.
But if nobody's being affected and nobody even notices I have it, then I'm assuming that would be okay then? Because I mean, you're basically saying if it's affecting anybody, then
No, what we're saying is, we're just saying no wind chimes, and when we go around and we're saying, gee, you need to take that down and that down, and Courtney's gonna say, and this one, and you're gonna say, it's part of my religion, da-da-da-da, you're gonna have a conversation about it, and that's gonna be it, okay? No,
Show that it is part of a birth.
that's how that would be handled, okay? So, here's a good one, clothing. There was a lot of people upset about clothing. Really what we're trying to get at is shoes, and we have a lot of people run around everywhere without shoes on, and it's a huge liability for us and for you. And all we have to do is have one kid get their foot badly cut on a piece of glass, and we will all see how big a liability this really is. Even in the high-rise, this is a problem. People should not be in common areas without proper footwear.
Okay, common areas, I was wondering what area you were talking
Common,
about.
it's in common areas.
Okay.
So you can walk outside.
No, you can't, that's a common area.
Insurance companies need to change that you guys would be liable for it, because you can't go around with a toothpick or whatever and pick up everything. I'm saying the insurance companies need to change that. It's up to the person, whether or not, or their parent to say, okay, you can go barefoot. You shouldn't be responsible if they.
We are.
Well, I know, I'm saying that, but I'm saying
The insurance companies are not going to change. Trust me, they're not. They're not going to change. It's outside, even any common area, which is common hallways, it's the lobbies at the high-rise, we had people arriving for the food program with no shirts, no shoes, and that cannot be permitted. No shoes.
Well, I remember shoes.
I think I know why you're saying that.
So
I
we
think I know.
had that program at other places.
No,
than
I'm
Ledgewood.
asking about the new shirt.
Yes.
I understand
And I'm
the
saying that
shoes.
we've had it at other places where kids came with no shirt, no shoes.
Yeah, but I think she's asking if.
What is the issue with no shirt? I mean, boys walk around and
Oh.
walk.
I can't serve you food without a shirt on.
Same clause as the store.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, same as the shirt.
They're giving you food at the.
Yeah, but they don't go there for just food. I can understand if food's being served, but like.
The question is, can people go without shirts?
Yes, that's the question. I think that's the question.
Yeah, like I'm
What's
not
the answer?
understanding,
What's wrong
we
with-
can't walk out of our apartment and go to bed and we want to walk without a shirt, or you're gonna tell me my shirt's too short?
What's the answer,
I mean, I
Chris?
don't understand.
Are we allowing people to go walk around
No,
without shirts?
we are not.
That's-
We want
okay,
people to have
that's-
shirts on.
Yep.
So, you're telling me that boys on the playground can't take their shirt off? I mean, what consists of no shirt? My girl walking to my car in a bikini?
We're really talking about adults.
Okay.
Okay, we're really talking about adults.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay?
If it's 95 degrees out with 90% humidity, I can't walk around outside without a t-shirt on.
We'd rather that you had a t-shirt on.
T-shirts are nice, they absorb perspiration.
Thanks, Tom.
But I'm asking about safety issues for not getting food, is what I'm asking.
Tom wants to ask a question.
One thing about, I observed recently, there's a man in my apartment house is in a wheelchair. He
Yeah.
doesn't walk.
Right.
He doesn't wear shoes. Can you make an exception or just?
So that's, okay.
Walking in shoes.
Yes, that came up here as well, and the comment was, I'm in a wheelchair, why do I have to have something on my
Yeah.
feet? That's common sense. No, you don't. The likelihood of damaging your feet when you're in a wheelchair is far less. So I think
So it's
we
an
understand
exception
that.
that.
So we understand
You don't have to make an issue about it.
No,
Okay.
right. I mean, that's common sense, you know.
So just if you get a doctor's note saying that, you know, you can't wear shoes because of foot problems and stuff like that, is that going to pass?
She actually has foot problems.
I have both
I do
foot
too.
problems.
I
I
tend
need
to slip my knob
infusions
on
in my feet and shoes.
And your doctor will give you a reasonable
Oh, yes, they will.
accommodation that says it's safer for you to go without
Yes,
shoes.
yes.
I think if we have a reason, I think that we would have to deal with it as a reasonable accommodation for a disability.
Okay.
Then we would have to deal with it that way, yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. Did you have something, Kim?
I'm asking what consists of not wearing a shirt. I mean, a man doesn't have a shirt, but what consists of not wearing a shirt? And like, I understand the food thing. I worked in the food industry, but we do a lot of other programs there that have nothing to do with food. I don't understand how a shirt is a danger for somebody to walk into an art room and take their shirt off. I mean, what do you consist of that? I mean, is a halter top not wearing a shirt?
No, this is not wearing a shirt. Not having anything on your top. Yes,
Okay,
not
that's
having
what I'm asking.
anything on your
Not wearing a
top.
shirt can be clarified in many ways. I've seen it clarified. You know what I mean? I've had people say not wearing a shirt and I'm wearing a bikini top and they're told that's not wearing a shirt.
Let me clarify. You can take it off on the way out of the property, on the way back in, put it on.
I'll let you know.
Okay, is that your answer? All right. So the common areas, clearing out the stuff in the common areas at night was something that people asked about. We really do. We don't want to change that. We have looked around and there are what we want, and I brought photos to show if you've got camp chairs and camp table and you can pick it up at night and bring it behind your apartment and put it up against the wall, that's fine.
So against the wall is okay?
Against the wall outside, yeah.
All right, that's great.
Just wait. What we want it in the back.
Okay.
Because, among other things, our guys come out and we cannot schedule and will not schedule mowing for any particular day, time, whatever, because we can't do it. So we need to be able to have clean front areas. Clean back areas would be great, especially at Ledgewood where we have more grass.
Well, I don't.
Well, you may not, but where we do, that's why I said where you do.
That's why I asked about the concrete slab, because I have a concrete slab.
So if it's on a slab, if it's up against, just put it away at night. That's the deal.
What if they're like, the chairs, like with the
Plastic ones.
the plastic ones, basically. They're plastic and they have the hand things right here. Do I still have to bring them in the house too?
No, can you put them up against the back of the house?
Yes, I can.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, she has less
What
grass in
we
front.
don't want are whole patio sets all over the front lawn that can't be moved because our maintenance people are spending hours cleaning yards before they can even mow. And it's really expensive.
I mean, I get it. That's why I asked about, because I have concrete
I know
slab
yes,
back
and I saw your
front.
chairs. Yep, those are fine.
Okay, thank you.
So if you know there's a bicycle or a piece of furniture out there, you hear the guys mowing, if we go out and we just help a little, get the stuff off the lawn.
We try to, but like they come, sometimes they come randomly, like you guys said, they come randomly, and we try to help them. Some of the times, the person that we want them to open the house, they're at work and we can't just, you know what I mean? We can't just.
Well, I mean,
we
if you
can
take
move
care
it,
of your
but we
own lawn,
can't.
So that's why we were suggesting if you do it at night,
At Ledgewood, we help each other, basically. So that's why I'm saying, we try to be a community and stay a community within ourselves. So this is why I'm saying this to you. We try to help our neighbors out, but sometimes it doesn't always go like that. Does that make sense to you? And a lot of people just have bikes that they're just there. We can't do, you know what I mean?
Can I show this? This is a picture of your front yard.
That's fine.
This is a picture of her front yard. So all I'm saying is these are fine, just put them in the back, okay? And if they're stacked up, actually that's probably cement right there.
Yes, it is.
So that's okay.
She usually stacks them.
I do stack them. I do stack them, but I normally stack them in the front because I don't sit out back. That's why they're front.
So I'm just.
There's lots of more concrete in front
Okay.
of her apartment, but.
What?
In the back there, he's had his hand up for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I was wondering, curious, because, I'm familiar with most of the housing complexes across the state, and not just this state, I'm talking everywhere else, and they normally have programs inside of the housing program where some of the residents could take on some responsibilities that's granted to overpay and excessively pay people to hire, such as cleaning the hallways every month. They might get a $20 deduction off the rent or something. but each person take turns, you know, every month or every thing like that, each party. That way you wouldn't have to hire so many people to do that particular job. They can focus on other things that residents can't do. Some are capable, some are not. I'm capable of mopping the hallway. I can mop my apartment. Anybody can keep the hallway clean, but nobody wants to just do that. But we all gotta live there as well, and it may not be done as often as it should. But I'm just saying, if it's a way that we can possibly, for those who are struggling to pay their rent, they can put in some work, you know, through the housing, that it doesn't become a burden on the staff or...
We could hire you to do a job, we could not deduct it from your rent, okay? And actually, Jack is the one that's in charge of the program. It's a program that is usually more successful in much, much larger housing authorities than ours. But you can contact him and see what you can work out.
We have somebody in Ledgewood that has ADHD, I'm not gonna say no names, that person has to do something in cleanup. I think you know who I'm talking about. Is that okay for that person, because he has ADHD, to go around and do what he does? You guys know what I'm talking about, but I verbally, you know, I can't say the person's name.
Yeah, we know.
Is that okay for him to do it because he has ADHD?
Sounds like he has a work ethic.
He does. But that person loves to do it. And he got yelled at about trying to help, and he actually helps a lot of us.
He didn't get yelled at.
No, not by you guys.
No, well, what happened is, if it's the same person I'm thinking of.
It is.
He was using a lawnmower power equipment.
And that's a no-no.
We can't have.
He hasn't done that in a long time, but I'm just saying, is it okay for him to go and pick up around, like he's always been?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Then I can tell him that.
I know you're arm up, Kim, I know you do, but I know the person over there next to the wall has had her arm up for a really long time and hasn't supported. So, do you mind?
Yeah.
I just have a question about the bike rack. I'm just gonna move on to this
Yep.
because I gotta get out of here.
Yep.
If you guys want us to keep the bikes on the bike rack, which in Ledgewood is over by the basketball courts, personally, my son's had his bike stolen 5 times in the 13 years I've lived in Ledgewood.
Even though I got him?
13 years I've lived there, and 5 bikes we've been through. This recently, the one was returned. It was found in the woods. Thank God. But I don't. That's why I have my kids' bikes locked right there, because it's the only place I mean, other than shoving them in the storage container every night. But if my suggestion would be to have a more central bike rack for our, I mean, maybe even for each building, because I can't.
So there, So there are two issues. One is picnic tables, and the other is bike racks. And Jack is committed to looking at both of those for everywhere. For next to roll out next spring, and see what we can do about picnic tables to help with the patio sets and bike racks. Now, I know a lot of people have taken to locking their kids' bikes against the building in the back. And that's their alternative, and that's fine. I get it. You know, they don't have room in their storage, it's safer, they've had these issues. You know, I was at Ledgewood the other day, and there were just bikes strewn everywhere, like, you know, they just exploded. And it's just like, pick them up at the end of the day.
The unfortunate thing about Ledgewood is half of them don't even get used, they're junk.
Well, just you know, it was during the day, and I just said, you know, just pick them up during the day. You know, pick them up at night. I don't care.
We can get one, because we don't have one. There's a few residents here, such as myself, Mike, and a few others who have it, and we have no place to put it inside.
Bike rack here.
Right, we know, we heard that. That was on your petition, and that's why I said Jack is gonna go around and look for bike racks for every development that will make sense for you for next spring. Okay, Kim?
I have a question on, there was a topic that came up about not using the fence for anything. There is an issue, especially with my building. Actually, I'm in a lucky apartment. If I can't use the fence, I can't put things behind my apartment safely. There are people that can't put things behind that apartment, because the reason is because if we have to run out the back in case of an emergency, a fire or anything like that, you literally only got this much space to move. If there's a bike or anything stored, a chair there, you're not getting through. So I'm like those people would have to put things in the front. Is that going to be an issue? Or like me, I can put them in the back, but the only way I'm going to put them in the back is they're going to have to be against the fence.
I think it's something you need to work with Courtney directly on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because we get it, every unit has a unique exit entry.
I mean, most
kind of
apartments
stuff.
don't, but those
Nope.
two buildings
I hear
where
you.
I am, we don't.
So one of the things, so in the spring, Courtney and Jack are very committed to going around to all of the properties and looking at these issues by apartment, okay?
That would signify the laws in that zone?
Pardon?
Would it like put it in that zone? For
That's-
those who-
Well, that's the idea. I mean, like, Hayes, what do we need here? Do we need one in front of every building or one for every cluster? That's the question, you know, so they're gonna walk around and take a look at this. Yes, sir?
I mean, I wrote this up and you've answered a lot of them and you've changed a lot of things from the petitions we turned into. But I still have 2 questions and.
I haven't even gotten to page 2.
I have some medical issues to tend to pretty shortly.
Okay.
I'd like to just ask 2 questions and I'm probably, can you buy them all in the big group?
We've thought about that. I'm not sure what the HUD rules are for that, or how that works. You know, we can't afford to buy air conditioners for everybody and then hope, have people pay us back.
But if you said you were going to buy 25 air conditioners of this kind, you're going to get a less price than I am trying to buy one. So 25 and gave you.
Sir, can I, sir? I don't know your name and I apologize. Paul. We went through the air conditioners. So the air conditioners at Moore Court and Hayes Court, because of the kind of windows you have, the window air conditioners are all right here, provided they are put in a way that is safe.
You all right here?
Yep. Moore Court and Hayes Court. All right? So.
You just leave the room out.
So there will be, we will have.
I was told by the housing authority that my air conditioner had to be removed for the winter.
Yes, we do want them removed in the winter.
It's out. They don't have the air conditioner.
That's right. That's not changing.
So in Ledgewood, there also is one.
H court that have air conditioners in still.
But what housing did, Carol was trying to explain is that housing told us it had to be out and that she couldn't have it anymore. So she called housing to have them take it out of her window for her.
I don't.
Instead, they didn't show up. She opened her window, it fell out. Then Todd showed up, threw it in the back of the pickup truck, and took it to the dump. Now, it's a brand new air conditioner, or maybe a year old, and I don't know why that happened.
I'm not sure. I think maybe it was assumed that because it was laying on the ground. When did he?
Well, wait. Don't. This is an individual issue that I really think we should take up, privately, and not have everybody have to say, I've heard it, Jack's heard it, we heard what happened, we will talk to maintenance and we will try to figure out what happened with that particular issue.
Are those fees that you have for the lockout fee changes that you have there, are those just different or is that?
No, we made big changes in all the fees.
That's right, that's
All the
okay.
change, so all the fees, we heard everybody, we're not absolutely deaf. We had lockouts, $120, they're now $63, which is about what they are now.
That's after hours.
This is after hours.
Or you can just leave the upstairs window open and have
break into your place, that's we had in the excess charges, we had a maintenance labor charge of $40 per hour. That is really what it costs us. And we have brought it down to $30. So we're eating $10 on that charge. Okay? We had dryer and washer. There was some confusion around this. We will do a safety inspection of dryers and washers every year. We really have had a lot of problems with them. This is for Moore Court. And we had a proposed charge just for the inspection and cleaning out the lint vents and doing all that of $75, $85 if we had to also put in new hoses. We have reduced that charge to $40 for the safety inspection and $50 if we have to supply new vent hoses or the hoses for the washer. So we have gone through and really reduced our charges about in half, a little less, but we are, so originally, we were passing on the actual cost of the housing authority for our maintenance, and now we are not. Okay?
Give it a break. I said, you're giving a break. You're
Well,
giving
you know,
us a
was it-
break.
Well, let me tell you, the housing authority, this, you may not care about this, but we're supposed to get from the federal government $1 in subsidy for each one of you to help subsidize your rent. We don't get $1. We get 75 cents. So just think if you have a pension check or a social security check, any kind of regular check that comes, just think if that check were 25% less. That's what's happened to the housing authority. And they have been doing that to us fairly consistently for the last 10 years. It's gotten worse recently. We're now diving down to subsidy limits we haven't seen before. Okay? I'm not. Can I just? Yeah. I'm not making a political statement. I'm just telling you about the reality of trying to run the housing authority.
No, we're saying we get it and it's Trump's fault.
Okay. You can blame it on anybody.
I have a question about the, like I have a portable washer that I just got. Now, is that gonna have to be
inspected? Yes.
Inspected, so that's gonna cost me
$40. Yep. Okay.
Can I just, Chris?
Yes.
If you got locked out of your house and you lived any place other than here, a locksmith now costs between $125 and $175 just to come to your house to unlock it. The prices have gone. So just compare that. There are a lot of us, like me, I'm disabled, I'm on disability. I have to pay between $125 and $175 to have my locks. So you guys are getting off pretty good.
That's why Dick Rocksmith can buy a new truck every year.
Was there a question over there?
Well, Dick retired, he's the new guy.
Ann, did you have a question, Ann?
Oh, I was just wondering because, about the key, getting locked out. Like I have a family member that lives down the street, has my key. Just my apartment.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That we totally recommend that people figure out
Well, I didn't
an
think
alternative.
when I did it that I should tell you.
Can you use the fire department
What?
if you can't afford it?
No, they won't do it, the police department.
No, police department, they're not allowed to.
You're not
Okay,
allowed
well,
to.
you do it down the line.
No, the last time the police department opened an apartment for us, they smashed in the front window at Ledgewood. And I made a deal with the then chief that he wouldn't do that anymore. Okay, so we don't do that.
Bang
All
on
right.
with their light.
Anybody else? Because we would just,
Okay.
are there other people that want, okay, go ahead.
I propose that, like Ann said, that give your key, make sure who you're giving your key to. My sister has a key, and if, you know, I don't call her, but find a friend and give that key to somebody you can trust, because that would alleviate that fee, you know? I mean, we're not at a private residence and put it under the flower pot, because I know at some time, some people will be watching and go, oh. And so,
Okay.
and I know that if you have to call a maintenance man, you know, and they're in Guilford and they gotta come, do they get charged like from the point that they leave their house to the, to come here?
Maintenance gets paid time and a half, standard 2 hours, no matter where they're coming from or what they do. If it's over 2 hours, then it's more time and a half.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the excess utility fees and the dryer and the AC fees. Gas grills, Lynette is not here anymore? Lynette is gone. Okay.
That's what I was just asking about.
So I looked at the gas grills, and they are not at Moore Court. They are definitely not 10 feet from the structure. That is not our rule. That is a state and federal fire code rule. So the Brattleboro Fire Department may enforce this rule at any time. There's absolutely no charcoal grills permitted. We're talking about, what are they, 20 pound tanks, not little ones. Little ones we're saying are okay. Little ones are okay, and the fire department said yes, and your residents can store 3 of the little canisters in their apartments. That's all fine, but it's the big ones. So what we have come to, and Jack is not happy with it, but we, we here have said we will not enforce this rule in any way until January 1 of 2019. Okay? But we can't, if something happens, I have to tell you, we are on the hook for a liability if a gas grill at Moore Court starts a fire. And it could. And if the fire department comes, and they would usually let us know, but I can't guarantee that. But if they decide that they want to check on these things and cite you and tell you to get rid of it, that is their prerogative because it really is against the state and federal code. This is not something that we made up.
Just to let you know too that there are statistics on fires caused by gas grills. I won't go into it, but if I read this correctly, there's actually more fires started by gas grills than there are cigarettes. And millions and millions and millions of dollars of property damage, and people have been killed. So please make sure if you have a gas grill, make sure the hoses are in good shape, make sure everything's in good shape. A lot of those components can be replaced fairly easily. So just make sure they're in really good shape.
So, yes, sir.
So the gas grill out back, you know, I think that...
Out back here, the community one?
Yeah.
That's different. These are individual grills.
Oh.
How is that different? It's a community grill and it's 10 feet away and...
No, I'm just wondering, like, how is...
That's why
it's blanket for everything. How is it okay to have the gas grill out of the community room but not outside your apartment 10 feet away? I guess
only got one.
Because we have one here. We don't have 72.
So I was gonna say, the one out here, shouldn't there be like a lesson, like maybe if anybody wants to attend, like not everybody knows how to, if they wanna like,
That's a good
they have
idea.
to get permission from Courtney and show, you know, like have a like a community meeting to show people do this, do that in a daytime setting. So if somebody goes out there and they don't like know how to use it, there could be some consequence.
Usually these, and Kim, this is addresses your question to some extent, but the community grill here is usually only used by the association or some group of residents that are part of the association or are hosting an event. So that's different than, this grill is not used by a lot of individuals. It really gets to be a problem when you have a community grill used by a lot of individuals.
This one out here, because when I lived here, it used to be like locked somehow, and you actually had to get the key if you want, you know, for whatever, you had to get the key from the office. I do have a question. It says a small camp grill is all we can use, so we can't use the bigger ones anymore. We have a family come over and we have to cook 4 burgers at a time.
I know, hibachi, yeah.
And that's after January.
But that's after January 1 of 2019, so we're giving you
It just
a year and a
didn't say that
half.
in here, so okay.
No, because that's what change we made.
Okay, cool.
That's a
Thank you.
change. We extended it out so that we heard people like Lynette who said, I just bought it, you know, and I looked at them in Moore Court. We're sort of caught between, you know, yeah, a grill and a fence here. Yes.
I do have a quick question about the grills. I understand you're not supposed to, my understanding is it's a lighter fluid in the charcoal more than the grill, because I have a small hibachi, but I buy literally a one-time bag match light when I go camping. The grill okay if I have no charcoal or lighter fluid on the premises? Because I literally just buy like a small bag when I go.
We don't want no charcoal grills.
No, I'm saying just the grill, there's no
You can
charcoal, I
have-
don't
yeah,
use it on the
no, we
property,
don't,
that's
no,
what I'm
if you
saying.
have the grill and you're not using it,
Okay,
then
I was trying to clarify, it's
Yeah,
not
we
the
don't
grill,
care.
it's more the charcoal.
it's using
lighter
it.
fluid,
It's
right.
using it. It's
Okay.
using it. That's the issue. Okay? All right. We covered the outdoor furniture, gardens, particularly for people at Ledgewood Heights. I did take pictures. I won't embarrass people.
Did you do mine?
But we do have some very nice gardens. This is a very nice garden. You see, it's like 2 feet from the wall, 2 feet from the wall, and it's got a little fence, and we have a fence somewhere in here, recommended fencing. The problem with this one, and I'm sure you can't see it, is this part is nicely taken care of and was used all year and grew vegetables and did it. This part has the fence still up, and it looks like a mess. And our maintenance people could not get in there and do the cleaning that they needed to do.
Just because I know from experience, that fence was left by the tenants before and it's never been removed.
So the point is, next year we will go and we will say, are you going to garden here? And they're going to go, no, and we're going to go, all right, then we're taking the fence out. You know, that's the more common sense. Here's another one that's very nicely done. So that's what we came to on gardens.
So we're looking at, for people who want to have a little garden, we can buy fencing, and I found a fence, it's vinyl or resin, I don't know.
Got it somewhere.
Little
Very nice.
Little white picket fence, and a 10-foot section will cost about $16. So what's nice about that is it delineates the garden from the lawn, and when the guys go with the trimmer, they're not hitting your cultivated plants, they're just getting the grass. So
Is that, like, you're gonna pay for it, or are we gonna pay for it?
we can buy it.
We'll buy it, and you can pay.
Buy it,
You
we were gonna
can buy
pay
it from
you
us.
to get it, 'cause-
Yep.
Yeah, we can buy it and actually, you know, maybe even install it. And,
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Question
For clarification.
I have a question about, well, you've seen my buckets. I never expected a cherry tomato plant to get over 12 feet tall. Literally. They're just cherries, but I mean, the thing is, you stand it upright, it's over 12 feet.
I think they're all right in buckets, and there was a lady there that has tires that are painted and actually look very nice, and her gardens are in there, and I went and looked at them, and I was like, you know, it's really, they're different.
you know, if it's neat,
So,
it's
if,
contained,
you know,
and we can trim around it.
Contained, it's not interrupting with, you know, one of the problems that we do have is, and it's no fun to be on the other side of this phone call, is a tenant with a garden, and the guys come through and they weed whack and whack, out goes the garden, and boy, is that tenant mad.
That's
So,
my
so
problem.
that's
My
what
fruit
we're,
is
well, that's what we're
flowers.
trying to come to with this,
Like the little fence.
getting these little fences around them so that hopefully our guys can also see very clearly that that is intended to be a garden.
Oh, hey, don't weed whack over the side of the.
Yeah, right, you know, just, anyway, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how does the gardening apply to here? I mean, in front of mine and Ian's, she's got flowers and stuff there, and I have things in front of mine. How does that apply to, because they have, when they mow the lawn here, they don't weed whack. And I have a rock thing, so they don't hit my plants.
Now you're talking, are you talking about the raised gardens?
No, we're talking about in front of our property, over here, where we live.
buildings.
Yeah, in front of the building.
Okay, so you have gardens in front of the building?
Yeah, there's flowers.
Flower garden.
Okay.
Like in the picture?
So I think no,
Kind of.
she doesn't have any pictures of it.
No, I'm saying, is it similar to that type of garden? Like it's
I think Courtney didn't have to differentiate. I think a
So-
lot of
Yeah, Christine, go ahead.
I think that, I know you guys have had these gardens for a long time, they're really beautifully maintained. I think that Courtney, you just have to talk to Courtney about them. I don't think that she's gonna take the gardens away, the same as the Ledgewood, the gardens, because as long as they're
What I wanna
maintained,
say
and we
is-
know that there's a garden,
We'll get you.
then it helps to, you know, to differentiate. And I think that the maintenance, it's actually a little bit clearer here, just because of the way the buildings are set up, and there's an entrance, whereas in Ledgewood, there's a different entrance to every single individual apartment, so it makes it a little trickier to figure out what is a garden and what isn't. But I wouldn't worry about that, just work on it.
But she could get a fence,
I'm sorry, what?
but they could get a fence.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, and that's what, I
That was probably
think,
nice.
gardens are always an issue, and I think that we'll be ready in the spring to meet with everybody about
And
gardens.
we actually want you to have the fence, so we prefer if you did.
How to do it.
Like, if you decide to make a path, you can't do that? Like, just a light path?
No, no, rather not because of the mowing issue. We'd have to take them down and, yes.
A lot of the stuff that you guys are saying is we have to talk to Courtney. Unfortunately, the way Courtney talks to some of us, we have to bite our tongue. Hold on, wait. No. The way she talks to us,
Condescending.
it's condescending, and she basically will flip the conversation on you. And the way she talked to me on the phone,
We are sorry,
it is true. I had to
Okay.
bite my tongue because I almost lost it on her, the way she's been talking to people. And I don't like the way she talks to people. So I'd rather talk to you or Jack and not deal with Courtney.
Okay,
Because
so
we're gonna have a problem.
So, let me just say this. All of a sudden, Courtney got all the rest of the properties, okay? And she is very short of staff. I'm not making
that's true.
excuses. I'm just telling you the
Yeah,
reality.
but she-
Jack is her supervisor, and Jack and I hear what you're saying, and we will be discussing that with Courtney. We will also be talking about getting her some more help. Okay, because she really is, I mean.
No, I mean, I get it.
It's overwhelming,
if
but
you are
I
just
understand, and I hear
If you're
you.
just meeting the tenant, you shouldn't talk to them a certain way.
Can I
hear you.
ask a question, just not to cut you off, Melissa? I actually was gonna wait to ask this question, but my question is, what is the policy on how staff members speak to us and treat us? Because I was under the understanding there was some guidelines in the workers' handbook about certain ways that we were spoke to, and recently, it happened to me in the open. I was very rudely speak to, I was also told to shut up, which I did not appreciate.
I don't think that terminology was used.
Yes, it was actually. Everybody in Ledgewood saw that. I was also called a child. Courtney today just called an elderly woman that is going through major health problems, that wanted to talk to her, and left a nasty message on the phone. Well, you can get your questions answered if you call me back. She's having issues of falling down and passing out. And she wanted to talk to her about the upcoming inspection because she's afraid she can't get some of the cleaning done.
Right, I've
And
been
this is an
contacted about
ongoing
it.
issue.
Okay.
I expect to treat you guys with respect, but speaking for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people agree, we expect to be treated with
Yes, you do.
respect too, not talked down to.
Yeah.
Two-way street.
Or called names.
Yep.
Or yelled at, or told to shut up.
Or called a liar.
That too.
Well, that's
been
not
happening
a good
lots.
one either,
And
so,
so I hear what you're
okay,
saying,
so,
I would like to, so I know you work, I don't know if you work with Lorelai or you know Lorelai.
Yes.
So she's a great in-between person, that's sort of her role.
We
That's-
shouldn't need it in
Okay,
between, we're
so-
adults.
So that's our role, on
There
this.
should be mutual respect.
Okay, I understand.
But
that.
Kim,
I should not need to
Could Christine finish what she's saying?
One second. And so sometimes it can be overwhelming when more than one person is talking to you at once, and I know that that's hard for me. And so my only recommendation would be is to make an appointment to talk to Courtney one-on-one. And I'm not saying that anything that happened didn't happen. I'm not excusing
Can you
anything.
answer my question though? Because my question was, is there a policy? Do you guys have
yes, there is a
work-
policy.
What is that
Yes,
policy?
we are supposed to be respectful and courteous.
So I'm
Okay.
Can I speak to you outside?
Or
do you have-
so,
okay.
okay? So can we move on, ma'am?
I just want to know, can we have maybe it's because I'm not over here very often or whatever, but I have no idea when Courtney's here.
Yes.
I've been dealing with her if I have an issue by email, which works for me. But it would be nice once in a while to see her in person.
Right.
But I have no idea when she's here.
So we have had, this has been a summer of we've had a lot of maintenance turnover and we've had property management turnover. So we are, I believe Christine is working with her group to get set office hours for all our support staff and property manager and assistants here on all the properties and have it like for real. You're here on Wednesdays, you're there, you know, and so we can try to meet that need, because I totally understand it.
So basically how it was before.
How it was before. At one point, we were doing really pretty well with our office hours, and then between meetings and this and that, and people leaving, and we actually had to eliminate a job. I mean, just, it's been a lot, and I know that it's been tough on you guys because it has not been consistent, and we are working to get to consistency.
I got a question. It seems a little odd, but I don't want to, you know, put a whole bunch of crap in it, but I'm going to just say, I called like around 1:30 to talk to someone, and they told me it was gone for the day. It's 1:30. Just came from lunch. I was leaving for the day.
Could have been an appointment.
We're here, but you're gone.
Maybe it was an appointment. It could have been an appointment or a family emergency.
I know. Well, no, I know that there's one staff person. No, I know that there's a staff person that is taking every afternoon off for vacation this year, this week or next week. So he's gonna be gone every afternoon. I mean, that is what happens, okay?
I'm not familiar with any of the other incidents that they're speaking of as far as disrespect, because I haven't had that from her personally. But
So-
I have had one weird incident that she hid from me, and I couldn't understand why, because there was nothing in the corner, but nothing. But that was odd, but at the same time, I kind of overlooked it. But that was the only thing that I seen strange with her. But everybody had their own different experiences based on their own request, you know. And mine was just weird. I was just touching on something that she was supposed to get back to me on. And she came through one end of the building, and she saw me go the other side, and she hid behind the wall. But there was nothing there, is what I'm saying. Because I said, Courtney, she came out, and I'm like, what you doing? She had a clipboard, and she's like, oh, but it was nothing there. And I said, so you ducking me? Why?
I'm really uncomfortable having a discussion about a particular staff person that's gonna be shown on BCTV, okay? So I would like to, if there's a need to, then Jack can come and meet with people, or you can call him, he's over there somewhere, and talk to him, okay?
And honestly, I didn't even know that
All right.
the supervisor did it now.
So,
I had no idea.
well, that's why I wanted to tell you, Jack is her supervisor. Okay, so can we just sort of move off that one, because I'm getting a little uncomfortable.
I'm trying to move off to a natural, like I put in a comment for the gardens here with the staff worker, that with the gardens, and I walk around this property, and there's one garden out here that kind of has been neglected, don't have a fence, but I don't really like disturb it. But I suggested that maybe they have put up on the wall, you know, if people want to join a gardening group and like go out there and whatever particular item they want to put in that, and it's pretty big, it's like bigger than 2 tables, and they got yellow flowers, and it's been, you know, it's pretty nice. If they had that group, I'd probably participate to pull the weeds and then put up stakes for tomatoes and maybe put the label on top for apartment 2, or if like few.
Right. So let me say again, in the spring,
right,
we will, as we usually do, we will be talking with each development about gardening and gardens. And we will get back to Ledgewood and these fences in the gardens, and we will be addressing gardens
find
here.
a neighbor that'll
Okay?
help you with it and just address it. Say, you want to help me with a garden? And they probably will, and weed it out.
Okay.
Chris?
Yes. I'm sorry,
Can I
ma'am.
just ask one question? When do all these changes take effect? When do they become?
We are talking about having them, with the exception of the one that I told you was put out till 2019. I think we're still talking about putting these in January 1, 2018.
Sorry, I was preoccupied there for a second.
Yeah?
What are we talking about?
2018,
The
January 1.
Yeah, the proposed changes.
All the proposed changes would be put in as of January 1, 2018.
Okay, because here's
Okay?
September 25th.
Yes, it does, and that's a change we made. Yes.
So does that mean we can have our table and chairs outside until that date?
Yes. That's the point. The point is, you can have them out till this year, and then starting next year, we want to start with these rules in place. Okay?
Fresh new year, right?
All right? So,
Summer programs and everything for the children will still be in effect?
yes, they will. We'll still have them. What?
So the next programs?
Yes.
That was told there was no funding to be cut.
No, we have not had that funding cut.
Maybe the following.
So let me just address two more things before you all melt, because it's hot in here. So lights, okay, Christmas lights, all right. This is a big issue.
External
And here you guys can look.
External.
I am just, the board is looking at photos of Christmas lights at Ledgewood and more. Here's another one. Okay. So, yes, that is.
It would be my house.
That would be your house.
That's fine.
I wasn't gonna say it.
No, that's fine. No, that's why I said it so everybody can hear me.
No, I just said
It was my house.
All right, so here's what we have come to for lights, okay? That you can have one string of lights around the door entrance, and I just sent that picture, but around your entrance like you do, and then around your front windows. Some of you have one window, some of you have two windows,
Just
okay?
not on the top. You want
Not on the
bottom,
top.
Just
We
on the
just want to
bottom,
stay on
not
the bottom.
The bottom window, okay.
All right, and we had said 2 weeks before the holiday, and we've changed it to 3 because you asked us to.
Thank you.
And we want them down 2 weeks after whatever is the appropriate holiday. And you can use the existing hooks that are in the exterior, but once they're removed by maintenance, which we think will be sometime next year, because they're big hooks and maintenance has to go through and they have to take them out and then they have to seal, caulk and seal the holes and paint. So it's a sort of a big deal. So it may, who knows, it may not happen next year. But once that's done, then we don't want new ones.
Okay, that's fine.
So that is what we are recommending on the holiday decorations. The other thing we're saying is that if you put out holiday decorations on the ground and they get frozen into the ground, that is not a reason for them to stay. There is hot water.
You're gonna freeze them again? No, you're gonna freeze them again?
We're gonna pour the hot water on them and we're gonna pick them up and have they go,
Please
okay?
unplug them first.
Yes. Well,
Okay?
This is what I was trying to tell you at the
That's my
meeting.
concern.
This is what I was trying
It'll be fine, we'll work
This
it
is what
out.
I was trying to tell you when we had our meeting at Lex. Mines don't plug in. You just set them on the ground and you leave them there. So mines don't, you know what I mean? Like, and then they have.
Do they light up?
But
No, they don't.
but
They
we-
don't light up. They do not
But
light
we
up.
want them taken down 2 weeks after.
Yes.
So if they're frozen, we gotta figure out a way to get them out, that's all.
They'll probably be ruined by the time.
Sure makes it so by chance, like if we get a random nor'easter 3 feet, you can't get to the lights, can we have like a day after to take them out?
That's kind of,
Like,
Kim, we're not gonna write that in the rule,
I'm not
that's
asking
just.
to write it in, I'm just wondering how we get.
That's just sort of common sense. Yes. Well,
People are getting notifications on some of this stuff from Courtney already. Yeah,
So,
but
you know,
I've
if we
seen
don't-
violations people have showed me about this stuff that hasn't even been voted on already, Courtney sent out. Like lights being taken down, and we're being told they can be put up, but somebody was just violated for it and it's not even voted on. So to me, common sense would be if it's not voted on, why is somebody getting a violation?
Ma'am, I can't speak to it.
I just want to know how that applies to decorations that are in the common areas of the building, such as the hallways.
That's a good question.
It's a good question, and what we want is, we want decorations confined to doorways.
Okay, and that goes for the outside of the building, we have posts that hold up the little roof there. Things on that post as well.
Not outside.
Not outside.
Nothing can be outside on.
We'd rather not, no.
The mats and stuff like that. Because where my apartment is, nobody can trip over my mat. It's not a.
That's what I was thinking. I live under, we're known, Ann and I are known, so we live under the stairs. And no, my doorway is not common area because nobody's gonna come there unless they're coming
The only
to see.
problem.
Please, I
They're
can't.
not-
problem with
Our
doing
mats
that-
are not in the hallway.
Yes.
I'm one of the ones that complained about the mats in the hallway because the mat is not secure. And I am not always all that steady on my feet. And if I were to slip or slide on that mat, which doesn't stick to the floor, I
Right,
could be hurt.
yes, so,
But mine isn't like that. Mine
It's
is
not.
hidden in the little alcove.
right.
To my door.
So yours, because it is right in front of your apartment and is not in the common hallway, is okay. But those that have doors that are on the common hallway, we cannot have doormats, and the reason is because they are a very serious tripping hazard for people trying to make their way down the hallways.
And yet I was told to take mine out.
Well, we just were changing the rules here, okay?
So that basically doesn't apply to people that have their own little
No, it doesn't.
entranceway.
It does not.
That's
No,
what she's
it-
saying. If
this
you
is
have
a
your own
problem.
entranceway, it does not apply to you.
This is,
It's in your
Oh, okay.
this is applying to people like at the high rise and places like that, because it really is a tripping hazard, and it's,
No, that's true.
and it's very difficult for people that are in wheelchairs.
No, I know,
Okay,
because
when
I
they're
tripped
out.
over a few mats.
All
Where
right.
that come from?
Somebody over here, Ann, and then I'll get you.
Okay, thanks.
I just have a question. Christmas lights. Now, like, I live upstairs. Can you line that window?
Inside your window.
Inside?
Hallway windows is the one she's talking about.
Inside, but not a common hallway window. Your window, yes, but not a common hallway window. And that's because of fair housing and religious reasons.
Annie, at the end of your hallway, the windows at either end of the hallway, you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't ever touch those.
Okay, so your window's all right. Who else? I know, just wait.
Oh,
She-
Chris, I just had a question of, some folks, I used to be one of them, I haven't, because I haven't lived there long enough, but, you have like outdoor lights that you keep up, you know, because you're sitting outside and the big old lights draw the bugs that like to eat you. If you have those, you know, decently hung up, not like just hang, you know, like,
The yellow lights that you put outside so that they.
yeah, or, you know, some
We'll have to look at-
nowadays
we
are
will have
like,
to
you
look at
know,
them. We would,
almost
I
like
don't know
Christmas
what
lights,
you're
but they're
talking
not.
I know what she's talking about, because I have a light that's like right by my bedroom window, and it comes, I don't know, if it's automatic basically, so it.
Oh, that's.
okay, so on those kinds of lights, and Karen, the lights I don't really know, we'll have to take a look, and, you know, and some of this is just, we have to take a look, like at Ledgewood, one of the people there, this is his garden, it's fine. You know, it's tucked into a little alcove. We're not gonna go, you know, weed whack in there, you know, just, so we gotta look around at each place,
I'm sorry.
okay?
Some things, Chris, that we're bringing up is other tenants, if you don't bring it up now, are gonna say you avoided it, which we understand that
No, that's
everything
fine.
takes time, and you know, you can't always give an answer right now. You know, so we're
So
sometimes
we'll make a
devil's
note about
advocate
those
here
lights.
sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll make a note on those lights. I can't quite see them, and I walked around and I looked at specific things. I didn't look at those lights.
Yes, more court, the mats outside the door. For the, it's only our front door.
That's only your front door. It's not in a common,
So it's
it's
okay.
your
It's
front
even there?
door.
Well, some apartments have, some walkways do have two apartments too, but they're like, one is put back and one is.
Well, Chris, part of the issue with the mats too is the cleaning. So when the maintenance staff goes around, they have to pick up mats and clean under all the mats too, so it's also a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and I would have to look. I mean, really, it's cleaning, and it's also, it's the tripping hazard, and I can't quite, we don't want.
Clean my side of the hall,
So.
I don't like waiting, so it's always.
All right, so we'd have to look at it. You know, there are different entryways, and some are right in the common area, and clearly other people would be walking over it than the people that live there.
So you're saying that in the case of mine where I'm in an alcove, that's still gonna be a cleaning issue?
It probably will, but I think we'll allow it. But it will be a cleaning issue for us because we'll have to pick it up to clean the floor.
They can just leave it there.
No, well, I know that's what you say, but we'll have to pick it up to clean the floor.
How long do
Okay.
you guys usually have a meeting for? Do you want to get an extension or whatever they call
No,
it?
I don't. Ma'am?
Formats. I mean, I did live in Moore Court, and as far as the cleaning that you were saying, I mean, I've been there for 13 years, and I've never seen them clean right in that area. I haven't cleaned that area.
We have hallways, here we have hallways.
No,
Common
no,
hallways.
no,
Just
I'm
like
sorry,
we're-
just
we're-
like you over here about the outdoor
okay.
mats.
So I thought-
But the winter time, okay, I get it. You know, we should be picking them up.
Right,
Winter,
yeah.
because we gotta shovel in the snow and the
Yeah.
ice builds up. So that I do understand, but,
I don't even understand where this door is, so I can't.
Mine's an end apartment,
Okay.
Christine.
Okay,
It's an end
so
apartment, nothing else is there.
I'm just saying, Jack's saying cleaning is an issue and it may or may not
I'll
be.
brush mine off and
I'm just-
move it.
I'm just saying, my concern is when they are in common hallways and common areas where people will be trying to maneuver down over that. And if that's the case, then we really need to have them picked up because they're a tripping hazard for people. Okay? So that's yes.
I would like to make a request to the board on all of this subject. Is there any way we could get a bit of an extension? Because I'm seeing a couple issues I want to bring up, it's getting late, that aren't on the list. And I also feel like with us talking about changing them, this means there's going to be a whole new wording. And I'm wondering if there's any way we could extend this so that we can discuss this a little bit more, so that we can be actually clear, as well as new tenants that aren't here right now, that may be moving in 6 months to a year later, that they can understand clearly what these rules mean. Because right now, I'm hearing one thing right here that doesn't really match the wording in the pamphlets. We can't have lawn furniture is what it says, but you're saying to work with us. I'm wondering if there can be
No,
wording
we're
in there
saying
about
no, I said no lawn furniture. I said it needs to get poked
but
up at the
chairs
end of
outside
9.
of- on our patio is lawn furniture.
And I said
And I'm
it
asking if
has
that
to
can be
be,
clarified.
it has to be put away at night
it's-
and put up.
She said it can be put in the back of the house.
Yet it's
Yeah.
not worded that way in the rules. What I'm asking is if we have more time, so we can get the clarification written in the rules, that lawn furniture specifically means things that you cannot put up against the building.
That's what it says. It says.
No, the
Yes, it
pamphlet that
does.
you gave us did not say
No,
that.
but these are changes.
It
We're
does
making
say-
changes.
That's what I'm asking,
No,
but there's
in
also a
that,
few subjects that
it
don't
very
seem to come up.
specifically says, and it takes it from the lease, and it says, this is what is in the lease, and this is, and it
Okay,
speaks
but
about
we're not
added
talking about what's in
furniture.
the lease, we're talking about what's going into the lease.
No,
That's what
no,
I'm-
we're not. We're talking
Okay.
about what
Okay,
is
so-
already, that's already in the lease.
Yes, that's not.
We're gonna go.
What?
You
The smoking part, you want to hear about the smoking?
You have spoken about.
All right, I heard you, Kim. Kim, I heard.
The wording in the lease. I think it's legit to ask for an extension.
Okay, I think the board has heard
Some of
you,
those things
okay?
further.
All right, I think the board's heard you. All right?
Smoking.
Smoking.
You live here, I understand you manage it.
Smoking, okay. So smoking, not here? Excuse me, Pat.
And the issues that I want to talk about are.
So smoking is a rule that the federal government is putting in place for all public housing. I thought it was going to start July 1, it's starting April 1 of next year. It's 25 feet from every structure. It's not allowed in any buildings, any common areas. It can be allowed outside so long as it's 25 feet from the structure.
So we're still gonna be able to use our smoking house?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you would.
Well, I
Yes.
want to know, how does that actually stop any smoking?
What about cigarettes?
If you look at the fresh air, we all smoking.
Well, that's what I said before. It's really hard. It's been very hard to enforce.
Because that bothers me.
It's very hard to enforce.
In the air, only difference is you can't see it.
It's very hard to enforce, I give you that. It really is.
There was a couple of little chains that weren't up there that.
I have a question about the smoking. I know that it's hard to change, but how long has it been since we were given all the paraphernalia about secondhand smoke and how much it's a health hazard to people, especially if they have lung issues, or like I have a name that's too long to pronounce to all of you and you would never have heard of it anyway. But the smoking, even though housing has tried very hard and worked with me, for which I appreciate, I have the thing under the bottom of my door, I have the caulking around the door, I put a tissue and plugged the two spooky holes in my door, and I still sound like this. And I sound like this because I had my air conditioner removed a week ago in cooperation with the out by September 30th, who knew it was going to be 90 degrees today. But without it going at night, I still have this effect. And this woman who lives across the hall from me smokes in her apartment 24/7. I mean, all day and all night. And we have gone to we jumped through every hoop Courtney's asked us to. We've given her written notice every time it's
So
really
we can talk
bad.
about this offline, but I think we should figure out a reasonable accommodation for you so that you can have something.
This is
Yeah.
really getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's-
And it is very, and I agree, and believe me, there's, you know, we want it to be smoke-free as much as you do. We put a tremendous amount of work into it. I know that, you know, it's hard to see that, but we do, and we genuinely care. None of us would be here in these jobs if we didn't care about our residents, and we really do, we really are working on it. So I'm happy to work with you.
How long does it take?
Yeah, it takes, unfortunately, it
this
takes
is
a really
very,
long time.
this is really hard.
I
And
will
I have to
tell you, I will tell you, we did, you know, we had someone at Sam Elliott that was continuing to smoke and causing a lot of problems, and it was it was months and months worth of work, and the gentleman does not live there any longer. And so it takes a lot of time and energy and effort.
I can tell you
So I
that-
can work with you to get a reasonable accommodation,
Yeah.
so that you can get, so we can work on something to help you to be in your apartment for the time being. And so we can work.
It really is very, very difficult. I can tell you the Springfield Housing Authority had somebody, they walked in 3 times and she was smoking away, and it took them over a year and a lot of money, and legal aid defended her the whole time, and it was very, very expensive, and at the end they finally were able to get her out, but they actually walked in 3 times, and she still was, they still fought it, and it's really hard. It's just hard.
I can get a doctor's note, what I have is laryngeal reflux, and nobody else has ever heard of it, but that's why I sound like this.
Is there
And
any
it's
way to
very
create a
difficult.
non-smoking section? Like-
No.
The building is not smoking.
No, we can't do that.
The whole township is not smoking.
You're not supposed to
I'm
smoke
saying
each
that,
other.
I'm just saying in general, because
Yeah.
outside, inside, you can't stop it from coming in your window. It will-
I know
it will
2 or 3
drown
years
it.
ago, they said there was gonna be smoke-free like back in 2015.
Yeah.
My building, people still smoke both cigarettes and non-cigarettes. And the non-cigarettes is starting to be a health issue on me, and it seems like each time I try to do something, I know I'm still getting sick and nothing's happening. I also just, with compliance of the AC unit, took my AC out a couple of days ago before the month started. During the winter, it gets worse because all the doors and windows are closed, so everything stays inside the buildings. For me, that's becoming a health issue, and I don't know what more to do to solve this. Either have me move out or find the individuals and have the individuals move out.
That's what I'm saying. It's really, really almost impossible to evict people for smoking cigarettes.
Is it?
I'm talking
It's
about
just-
non-cigarettes as well.
Non-cigarettes as well.
And
It's just really, really hard.
And continuing to call, I know you feel like a broken record, and I know you might feel like nothing's being done, but continuing to leave a message for the property manager. When we get a complaint, we actually do give people notices, and the more notices they have in their file, the bigger case we can build. And so, and also if people put it in writing, we're coming up with a new form for residents to put their complaints in writing. And so once we have that, that's gonna be really helpful as well, because a lot of times when we go to court, we don't have, a lot of our residents don't want to back us up in situations. So it might be nice to have things.
On my big letter that I sent you guys, I kind of spelled that out, that I'm like,
I was totally
that's
kidding.
part of the reasons why,
For a different issue.
unfortunately, I have to use candles to try to mask the aroma,
Yeah.
so I don't constantly get sick.
Okay.
And I understand that we're not allowed to have lit candles anymore, and I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do now to make sure that aroma stays outside of my apartment?
Well,
So
there
you're
are,
ready to get smoke heaters for the people that, while you're dealing with it? I mean, I know it's not to solve the problem, but
They don't
it was
work.
a suggestion.
they don't
And I
work.
did hear.
I don't know if they
They
do
don't
or not.
work.
I've
We
never
tried.
used
I've
them.
had quite a bit of experience with
Do they not work?
electrostatic precipitators and.
I've never
They
used
don't, we
them.
don't, we've tried it. We have tried
They've got 'em.
so many
And
times.
I can't close my windows because I live on the second floor, and any given night, it's 80 to 90 degrees, even during winter months, and I'm like, I'm suffocating from the heat just to avoid, or try to avoid, this aroma that's making me sick.
You know, I'll get our friend, the attorney here, to send all this conversation to legal aid, because they're the ones that help keep everybody in housing that's smoking.
And if I might follow up on what Christine said, having the notices and having your complaints in writing are fine, but when it gets to court, I need people. And if I don't have people, if I have pieces of paper, legal aid will keep out that piece of paper because it's hearsay.
I'll
And
show
all
up
and
and I'll
everybody
be with
else.
the doctor's
And then
notice,
what I
and
often
that's
find with
sick.
evictions is that other tenants who have made multiple complaints say, oh, geez, you know, I can't make it that day, you know, they don't want to. I understand. It's not an easy thing to do. But the first thing legal aid will raise and the judge will rule on is they have a right to cross-examine who has made a complaint against them. If you've made 5 complaints about smoking and you don't show up at the hearing, those 5 complaints don't exist in the judge's eyes.
I have a question about that because I know with a past manager, there was 3 of us that approached her for a different issue, not the smoking issue, but we were making complaints because there was obvious drug deals happening in front of us and our children. We all offered to go to court. We were told we couldn't get involved because of privacy. I'm just confused because you just said the total opposite. But we were told that it would be no good because of privacy, we couldn't show up. I'm confused.
Yeah,
I have to say I'm confused on that.
Well,
I don't know the
that's-
specific case.
it's a
And
specific
so I
case,
don't know the
so-
specific case. A lot
It
of
just
times-
happened like literally this spring.
And I don't even know that
Last
case
manager,
may
and that's
not
what
have
we were
even,
told.
that may not have even gone to court. It could have been, a lot of times people do move out because of the pressure and they don't
Well,
want to
no, I
have,
understand
and they don't
that,
want to have the record saying that they got
They were
evicted
going to
from
court and
public
it did end in an eviction. The cops even
I
showed
don't
up to escort her out. But we were told the privacy issue that we weren't allowed to testify with these. I've been told that many times for different complaints when I've offered. I'm just curious, like you're asking us to go, but I've offered, I've been told every time that I can't.
So all I can say is what's going forward and that we're going to have a new form that's in writing, and if people have a hard time writing things out, then they can work with one of the social service people. But we are going to put complaints in writing and have people sign them. It's going to be, we think it will be helpful for a lot of reasons. First of all, it'll be helpful to clarify situations, but also so that we have a record so that when we do go to court, we can show these to the attorney and then we can have. So I can't speak to the past and I don't know who said that and I don't know what the situation was, so I can't.
I'm just confused because it was total opposite.
so
It would have been told
all I can
last
tell
like
you
4
is
years.
what, yeah, and I understand what you're saying, I hear what you're saying, but all I know is what we're trying to do going forward.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
My question is for the air conditioners. Well, I think that I have a new air conditioner and I've got a problem with you saying, because I've looked online and I know where indoor air conditioners go from 150 refurbished to like $400. Now, to the people that are complaining about this, now I see that like you charge like a $20 fee for air conditioners, but to be in the window, is there a possible way, you know, I'm gonna buy one anyway.
You live here?
Yeah.
You don't have to get a new air conditioner.
Yeah, you don't have to have regular windows. We have sliders.
You have
We would
regular
have to get
windows,
that.
we already said you don't have to change
Oh,
your. And
so
let
that's
Hayes
struct-
Court, you can keep your existing window air conditioning.
Just take them out by the certain duty.
We will, and one of the big changes is that maintenance will now take them out and put them in. There'll be a little fee.
Right.
But they will charge you $20, I think.
But you can take them out yourself, right?
But those are not capable.
Okay.
So the reason that,
You're for it, actually.
so the reason that we want maintenance to put them in and out is I've gone around and taken a look at
The
the way the air
screw
conditioning.
holes, right, and stuff like that. right?
Well, okay, the way they're installed, and they're not sealed properly, there's gaps, I've seen 1, 2, 3, I saw one in that had no expandable filler in there, so the whole
Put
side of it was
cardboard.
open.
Put
So-
cardboard, yeah.
Well, so that, the other thing is, some air conditioners that I've seen were not tilted properly, they were tilted in, meaning that all the condensate that it collects, all the water, is gonna end up inside the unit causing damage. So we want to be the ones to install them, make sure that they're in safely, so they don't fall out, make sure that they're sealed properly, and make sure that they're draining outside properly as well.
Because of the BTUs too, if you put a 5,000, and I have that in mind, and it's just an Arctic King, for like $100, it works fine. But I know what you're saying, you put an 8,000 or 10,000, and it's got that weight,
Sure.
it leans on that window and your structure, your window, I can understand. I've told people, just put a board and let it lay, so it doesn't lay on the structure of that fiberglass or whatever it is, and it doesn't ruin the window. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not worried about it, I just kind of like have it in there, but the size of the unit does matter.
Sure.
I've seen one fall. on
Okay, can I just,
Okay.
sorry to cut you off, but it is getting late, and I just want to know if there are people that have not spoken, that have a question or want to make a comment.
I have one more topic.
Okay.
I don't know if it was on the board or not, because I can't see it from
Okay.
the side, and that's about the
Can I-
community room.
Okay, can I just see if there's anybody else who has a question or a comment that has not spoken? Arlene?
I sent you copies of material that I'd like on my door. I was thought I would talk to you about it after the meeting.
We can do that privately. Yep. All right. If not, then did you send us the letter about the community room?
It was part of the long.
Yes, and that was, that we are going to take on a case-by-case basis, and we think that is a use that you've had for a while now, this community room. It's not interfering with anybody, and Courtney said, well, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, since all the rulings needed to be discussed, that that was still either okay or not okay, because I do have to inform the rest of the members in the group and whatnot to know for sure. The one thing I do want to make sure everybody else here is I do want a calendar posted outside. So
Yes.
everybody else knows when the reservation is, what day, what time.
Right.
So they can also realize. There hasn't been for a while.
Yeah, no, we need to get them out. You're
There
right.
was one up there,
Yes,
I think
there
in
was.
spring, but haven't since.
There was.
Not to cut him off, but do we have one in Ledgewood? Because I could have sworn we did, but maybe my eyes could be playing tricks on me, I don't know.
I'm not sure. That was one of those things that sort of got dropped as people left and jobs got changed. And I did respond, I think, to you or somewhere and said, yes, we do need to get calendars up so people can say when they've reserved a room.
I know when they come, so I say 60 days, like, if you want to book it in advance, leave a limit to where some other person wants to have something, so it doesn't really cut the person off, it just allows other people to have the room, not only them, to themselves, so.
Right. Well, I have to look at our community room rules again, but I think they've worked pretty well
Okay.
as they've been.
They have,
So. Okay, anything else? Ann?
When I first moved in here, 18 years ago,
They used to light the big Christmas tree out here. Can they still do that?
No,
We used to have one in here.
no, it's against fair housing, and we're discouraging them from all the community rooms. It's just a fair housing nightmare.
No, I mean the one outside.
Yes.
Big signs.
Nope,
Because
Oh,
that's
there's
the,
no lights on.
Yeah.
That one out there.
nope.
I just want to say something that Courtney said to shut all the windows, right? And I'm a pretty nice guy, so you see all the shades down? I put all the shades down and the curtains across, and I shut them, you know, in the way I've heard that. So, but some people like to open them up and leave them up all night, the windows, and I know from issues that if people want to like get in there and take stuff, they're gonna just cut the screen in.
Yeah,
So I do it out of the kindness to protect the place.
thank you. Did you have a comment?
Oh, yeah, I always put my money order in the box, but you're not gonna have that pretty soon.
We're not.
When I mail it to BHA, just BHA, Brattleboro, Vermont, with the zip code's good enough?
We're going to supply pre-posted,
Oh.
pre-addressed envelopes for people. Okay? Anything else?
That time to go home.
What?
Time to go home.
Kim, you had a couple of things.
This is
that
why
you-
I was asking for an extension, because I have a few things that weren't up there. For one, I still have not had the whole shade curtain issue really answered. I'm not sure how it's fair to all of a sudden say I need to pay for the shades when I've never paid for them or had them replaced. And I don't feel like it was clarified to me, and I'm not quite sure I'm comfortable with, I'm sorry to say this, but we live here. Nobody's complaining about blankets being in the window. We all understand we're in poverty and we can't always afford curtains. But I'm hearing complaints from people in the office that it's unsightly to you guys. But, like I've said to you, Chris, once before, curtains are a luxury for me. Just like having cream in my coffee or having coffee in the morning, or for some of you that maybe can't own a house but rent it, curtains are that much of a privilege to me. I barely clothe myself just to clothe my kids. I didn't choose to live here like this. I am wondering, like, why all of a sudden do I have to incur costs that doesn't seem to be affecting anybody but a manager?
I wouldn't blame it just on a manager. And
I've actually asked my community.
And
That's what I'm asking.
I hear, I mean, the board, you know, what we have said is we would rather not see blankets and torn shades and things like that. We supply shades.
My shades have only been
so-
supplied once, and they've always ripped within 3 months. They've been supplied just because they fall apart when I pull them down. They also don't offer privacy. They leave about 3 inches that anybody could look in my window. Also, we are an area which is very known for crepes, and my child's window faces it. I personally have had to go down there and chase out pedophiles that have stolen underwear off of mine. So it is a concern to me when my child has a 3-inch gap and I'm told I can't put a blanket up, that may attract somebody that has nothing to do with that in those words.
Okay, I think the board heard you.
I'm sorry, Kim, and I'm sorry, a sheet or a blanket can be made to look like a curtain
It looks like
with
a
some
solid
sewing.
blue thing in my window. I mean, it's not.
Cut it, sew it, hand sew it, I've done it.
Not everybody knows how to hand sew,
Okay.
and specifically,
No,
I can't anymore with my hands.
I think the
They won't
board
work out.
heard you don't agree with that wording, and I believe
It's
the board
not
heard
so
that.
much a wording, it's the forcing the cost on us. And more the wording is the fact, why are people that own their own homes get to go home? We live in poverty trying to survive every day, okay? I didn't choose to get injured and be on disability and raising 2 kids. I had plans to own my own home, and I was heading there, okay? I used to make $40 an hour. I now bring in $1,300 to raise 2 kids in me, okay? Buying curtains is less important than making sure my kid gets music, because maybe she can get a scholarship and be better than us. It's the cost, and it is partially the wording, because to me, this is survival for me. I'm sure other people here, it's survival too. And it does offend me quite a bit that a manager or anybody in management that gets to go home to their own home is gonna tell me my curtains are not curtain, it's a blanket. I'm sorry, it bothers my eyes. But you know what? You have to deal with it, what, a couple hours a week if they show up? We have to deal with it all the time.
Okay, thank you. Do you have other comments that you?
I wanted to bring up something about the associations, but I can always show up the next meeting.
That's an individual.
That if there's an issue
No, the
around.
association is the whole community. Everybody has associations, right?
No, they don't. No.
By choice, do we not have the choice to have an association?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And Lorelei will help people
No,
set up associations.
My question is, if we have the choice and we go through it,
Yeah.
then why for 6 months were we completely blocked and then eventually told, I'm sorry, we haven't had the meeting, it's not gonna happen?
I would have to ask Lorelei about that.
Lorelei was not in a position, you cut her position, and Chelsea took over. Yes, it had been complained to you guys because I personally made that.
I did not cut her position because I wanted to.
I didn't say you cut
It
it, I
was
said
cut
her
because the
position
federal
got
government
cut.
lost our funding.
I'm not.
So, okay, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just confused. So are we not allowed to hang blankets in the windows as curtains?
No, they
That's
say they're
the
on.
question.
I'm sorry.
That's the question. It's in the wording about, there's some reference to blankets and sheets. And that, so Kim has made a statement, I think, very
What about
eloquently.
home for sheets? I mean, where are the
By the way,
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Chris, if I may, by the way, I went through, there's a lot of rules and regulations from housing authorities across the country, and consistently, every single one had the same language, coincidentally. You know, I think it's a matter of, you know, living in a nice place. I mean, you want to drive it, you want to look, you want to see. You know, I mean, you want to have some consistency with the way things look. You want to feel good about where you live, and that's the reason we just don't want curtains. And every single housing authority, again, that you can look it up online. Look at housing authority rules and
I'm
regs.
concerned about where I'm
So
forced to
so
live.
we
and that's
have
here.
until January to find adequate curtains. Like, we don't have to take the blankets down right now, yeah?
Right. If we go with the January 1, 2018 implementation.
You
We made a blanket
suggested,
look like a curtain.
yeah, I'm sorry, not
Sean's
to cut
had a
anybody
change.
off or anything.
Don't always have that option.
What was said, I can't point the person out, but what was said to me, which I have curtains, but if it is behind the,
Pull shades.
the
And
pull
then what do you do
shades,
when you can't replace them?
you're fine. If they are in front, it's a problem.
Okay. Because my children's bedrooms are, we have the outside lamp posts in front of both of them. So I have the pull-down lamp shades in one window, one of them I do not because they're lit. But, and then I have blankets again over it so that there's no light. But I mean,
In the back?
Yeah, one of them's in the back, one of them is missing that pull-down panel because the baby's 3 and just thinks it's a hooch. But,
Okay.
Do I have
No,
a,
wait, I'd like to ask this
All
one.
right, I got two concerns. One is, I got a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, definitely. And as you can see, this is our community room, right? It's only very limited things they can do in here. When I bring them here, my apartment is naturally too small. So I brought this here, but you know, it is what it is. I was told it was going to be like a play area, something over there, but nothing ever came of it. You know, on top of that, I was also, my biggest concern is there any possible way that we can be alerted if there's any type of pedophilia person in the area, or if rehabilitated or not? You know what I mean? I say that because we already had several incidents. You know, people come down here, whether they live here or not, they hear. You know, and I don't know the sick thoughts of people or what they may do next. So
We
maybe I
don't,
can say is-
I mean, we'd tell you if we knew, but we
I'm just saying,
don't know either.
Yeah, you have to go online or
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's a registry that they're supposed to register, and if they don't, they actually can go back to jail for that.
If you do not have access to online, you can call the state and they will send you a list. I'm not 100%
But they're not
sure,
gonna
but I'll
willingly
try to
hand
get
out
numbers
to
to
you.
Will those lists come with photos?
No, you have to look online. If you want the picture, you have to look
Yeah, I'll
online.
try to see if I can find the number, I'll catch up.
But shouldn't this building be secure because it has the BB access thing?
Yeah.
It would be safe.
No, but he's saying just, I mean, I think.
Well, I think he's saying just in general in the neighborhood.
you know, because I see a lot of things, you know, I work with a lot of children, and some of these things just don't make sense, because I see a lot of these guys on the bus stop, and they're not going anywhere. They're just there, but they have those charges, because I've seen the photographs. So what is your pleasure here? You know what I mean, it's my thing. Not just here, but everywhere. Everybody's everywhere doing anything. So you can't control where people go or walk, and you can't judge them by them just walking by. But I would like to know if I should be alert or aware, or at least on high alert when it comes down to my children running around or something. Because, you know, it's our job to keep an eye on them, no doubt. But we don't know who's in the area, and things happen, you know?
Well, all I can tell you, Sean, is that whenever we have become aware, we have taken action to have the person removed or you know, not on the property. It's very hard for us to get no trespassing warrants on a whole property. So it's very hard, but so all I can tell you is when we know, we try to tell, and I can remember when we actually circulated a photograph and a bio to everybody in housing because this guy was on the loose and it was scary.
Yeah, we got
So
we got
so,
but I almost feel like
but
that was
that's-
because of another incident. It wasn't.
That was not.
Basically,
But,
you have to go look on.
yeah, because we're not gonna, we don't go and check that every day and, you know, sort of see who's walking around.
Can we go back to, we have that same problem in Ledgewood. So we kind of tend to chase them out.
Well, it's up to the tenants to work together to put maybe a post up. So the little ones can be aware, because they talk to people talk to them. We don't know what happens when we send our kids out the door, or what they're doing at lunchtime exactly, who might be watching them. I mean, I just went to school the other day, and my son running around.
It is true, but it's not.
As I was coming to see him, he should be in class with everybody else, but he's running around. You know, and that's not what I looked to see. I wanted to go in class. So we don't know what's really happening, because everybody wear a mask. You know what I mean? I'm me all day, but when you wear that mask, they're gonna be one person in front of you, but when you leave, what are they doing? Are they really watching your channel, or are they really interested or concerned? That's the question. And it's up to us.
A suggestion from like what we've done as a community on our own about that is we communicate to each other. If we're aware something's coming up or if we question about it, one of us will get online and check it out. And if it's true, then we put the word out to everybody. This person specific.
And
and that's really the best
watch
you can
them.
do. Even legally, that's the best you can do.
As well as,
Unfortunately.
I don't have myself down here, there's no playground, anything for them to play with here. I would have to actually commute, which myself don't drive, don't know how to drive. And I don't always have bus fare to take them when they want to go in the snow, we just travel. You know, so, and there's nothing really in here for them to do too much of, and if I bring it here, the closet is so packed, there's nothing really in there either, so what do they do? I
This
mean,
was
sure,
never-
I have grandkids, I got
This
children.
was never meant to be a family type
But it is
event.
now.
But it is now.
I mean,
That's
that's true, but,
I mean, honestly,
I would say bring them up to more according to Ledgewood was.
well, I mean, it has, I'm saying as far as always having a play area. I'm not saying.
I mean, it's a given.
Wait a minute.
I'm
It's
saying
getting
as far as
late.
having
Getting
play
late.
areas.
It's getting late. Can we, thank you, Sean. I hear you. I think, I think the people from Ledgewood gave you some, some good ideas. Communicate around with other people. And Kim knows of a resource that might be available to you via the phone.
I'll try to find it as soon as possible.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No.
No? No? No?
No, I just need to talk to Jack, that's it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
How will we find out what's been approved and when the board has approved these things and exactly how they're written?
Well, I can assure you that having gotten slapped around a little bit because of the way we did it the first time, we won't do it that way. We'll make sure that it goes to your door.
Will something come out and we,
Sorry about
come
that.
out first and then, okay, this is what we're proposing,
That's
if there's
kind
any
of what I
more
was
questions?
That is up to the board.
That's
So
actually,
that'd be yes.
That is up
to clarify, that's kind of what I was asking for, was
I know.
another chance for us to look at it if the changes are approved.
That
If we
is,
could get
that
a
is
second
totally up to
look
the
at
board. I can tell you this, I do not want to spend the next year
I'm not asking for the next
fooling
year, I just
over
feel
every
like
little
a lot of
word in
people
here.
are
Right?
aware,
So
and they should have a fair
we
chance
do
to
want these
understand.
things to proceed, and we do want changes to be made, and we want to do that fairly and with good communication with the residents, but I really don't encourage the board to spend the next 6 to 9 months doing this.
I'm not asking for that.
I'm
What I'm asking
not,
is for
I
a
didn't
little
say
bit
you
more
asked
time
that. I
for
didn't say you
everyone
asked that, I'm just
to
telling my
understand. That's not
position.
here.
So, with that, is there anything else? I want to thank you all. Sean, yes? One last thing, yes.
Does any of this meeting have any effect on any type of emergency moves?
A what?
Emergency moves.
Emergency moves?
I thought you said something else. My mom passed away in December, pretty much. My nieces are disabled, they're 26, 27, with the mental capacity of a 12 and 11-year-old. They're in the hands of a 67-year-old whose health is worse than my mom. And if something happens to her, it's all on me, just me. So, I'm where I am, in the position I am, which means those are my sister's kids, and my sister passed away in 92. But their mental capacity is 11 and 12, they're adults, and they're back home. So, but they're in housing. That would require some form of emergency move, wouldn't that? When all of it becomes on me and I'm way over here. Is it a way that they can commute with them to move them here without waiting?
No. No.
No,
They don't trigger any emergency move, no. No. What you should do is get them on the waiting list. That would be my recommendation.
Staying with you because you gotta take care of them, or they want an apartment.
Well, right now, she just got legal custody of it, right? The person who passed it. Her health is not well.
I know, and I think we talked about this some months ago, and my suggestion would be to get them all on the waiting list immediately. If that's a concern, get them all on the waiting list right away.
Before they're up on that list?
We do not provide emergency housing. Yep.
That's one of those, if you had one for one, you'd have to do it for everyone.
Yeah. We'd have emergency housing for everybody.
That makes sense, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.